Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Tom Bilyeu Show Live. As always, I am joined by Drew. We've got Mason over on the community, and we got G flying solo today behind the camera. It has been a wild week, as I'm sure you guys are all aware. Trump has announced that Charlie Kirk's assassin has been apprehended. We'll see. That feels a little bit early. But hopefully that ends up being true. Certainly there's been a lot of footage that have helped identify the Utah police. Were saying that they're getting more tips than they've gotten on anything since was it the Boston bomber? Something recent that was just massive. So we've had apparently a lot of tips that it sounds like may have led to the apprehension, but we'll have to see how that plays out in the fullness of time. Charlie Kirk's assassination, though, does continue to prove to be a ghoulish Rorschach test in terms of how people are responding. You've got people saying that they're glad that he had to go. We've got some footage of a girl talking to her father about it, and she's just so glib about the fact that he was killed, and she's perfectly happy with it because of his views. And none of that ends well, I assure you. Everybody thinking that they are right is a wild problem. And when you believe that you're so right that people that disagree with you deserve to die, we are exactly on the slope that Ray Dalio has been warning us about. When people begin to fray as a collective, that we can no longer come together in the middle, you have signs that are far more dangerous than I think people realize. And let me tell you who does realize that: China and Russia. And there are accusations flying around that they're using bots to accelerate the division that we're all living through right now, which I would not be surprised. And P.S., I wouldn't be surprised if America does the same thing when things are popping off in their countries. And that is going to be the core part of my thesis. Anybody who thinks that their side doesn't call for political violence in America is out of their minds. Anybody that thinks that we don't do the same things that other countries try to do to us are out of their minds. And so if you actually want to have a grounded way to navigate the world and figure out what is actually going on and how you should be behaving, you've got to pull yourself out of the narratives. You've got to pull yourself out of the tools of division, understand that these things can and will be used. And so, define your value system, figure out what you think is the right way to navigate it without the just cacophony of madness that is going to be coming at you from all sides. Otherwise, we really will tear each other apart. Like, that feels all but guaranteed to me right now. So hopefully this community can be the people that stop that from happening by being aware of the mechanisms by which this happens. All psychological, by the way. The jobs report. It is worse than expected, and I think at this point a rate reduction is all but inevitable. And we're going to be talking today about what that means for the economy, what you guys can expect, how you should be thinking about your investing strategies. Is this a time to be sitting on the sidelines? Is this a time to be going all in? We are going to talk about it. And speaking of things that we're going to talk about, AI continues to threaten the stability of the job market. It is very difficult to know what the future holds, but having sat down with Emad Mostak yesterday and talking about what he calls the final economy and the way that things are going to change as AI just continues to absolutely dwarf humans in capabilities, it really is going to be wild, and it is going to happen fast, and we're going to be talking about it all today. All right, Drew, we are still in the after wash of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. It still is sitting on me pretty heavily. I was not at all surprised to see that my timeline is still just wall-to-wall Charlie Kirk. This one really does feel different. It's been interesting to see people talk about that little aspect of this. Like, why does this one feel so differently? I think people are grappling with something that I think you get close to when you realize that this wasn't a politician. This was a guy that talked for a living. And so when the guy that talks for a living gets killed in like the most symbolic way, getting shot in the throat while talking about a political position that people don't agree with, it's just so rich in symbolism that he was somebody that was specifically aiming his message at young people, which of course is exactly where you want to aim a message. All of that, and that it was captured on camera so close up. It's this one, I don't think this one's going to go away. And so people are going to use this to advance what they already believe. That's the thing that scares me. So I've seen everything from the direct, like, Charlie Kirk was standing up for free speech and American values, and so that's what was assassinated. I've seen The Chance, which I assume we'll play a clip of later, where white men fight back. And I was just like, wait, what does this have to do with being white? So everybody, this is a Rorschach test. You see in this what you want to see. Mm-hmm. And those kind of things get very dangerous because now everybody believes that they have like the perfect thing that explains why their side is right, which is the very problem that we're dealing with right now. Everybody's convinced they're right.
Yeah. White House reporter Elena Trine from CNN just announced that Trump said on Fox and Friends that Charlie Kirk's assassin is in custody. Quoted directly from Trump, I think with a high degree of certainty, we have him in custody. So if this is, Kash Patel said that yesterday, it came out with he had some fire, had to deal with it when they ended up having to release that suspect. So if this is the person that done it, if they actually captured him, do you think that this will be a path to healing, or is
definitely not?
Cat's already out the bag?
Yeah. This is a symptom. This is not the cause. People have been waiting for that spark. And the question always, when something like this happens and you have a spark that then catches fire, everybody focuses on the spark, but the reality is you should be looking at the kindling that's been laid down for God knows how long. Mm-hmm. We've been pulling at each other like crazy. We've had political assassinations in recent memory that didn't catch on the way that this one did in terms of the public consciousness, mm-hmm. which is always fascinating when you look back, even at things like the civil rights movement, like why Rosa Parks? You know what I mean? Like there was 100 other things, mm-hmm. 1,000 other things that were as bad, possibly worse, but they aren't the one that like really sparks it. Sometimes because of the symbolism, sometimes because of the coverage, sometimes because of who will rally around them. So it's interesting to see the way that Charlie has become mm-hmm. that thing that's going to push this forward. But the reality is there's been something brewing under the surface for a very long time that's now going to rage. The only question is how far. Mm-hmm. There is no healing this. When I think about the stance that I have, which is, hey, we still have to find a way back to the middle. We still have to find a way to give people a narrative that they can hold on to that gives them the words to self-soothe. Mm-hmm. I do sometimes feel like the guy on the beach as the tsunami rolls in. I just don't know if it's stoppable. And so Ray Dalio was recently on Diary of a CEO, and he asked him, are you optimistic about America's future? And Ray just goes, no. And Ray is looking at historical patterns. For reasons of historical patterns, I feel like the person on the beach with the tsunami rolling in, calling for everybody to find their way back to the middle. I just don't know if it's possible. It is the very thing that I'm asking for, that I know would be good for us, is the very thing that I think defies the way the human mind actually works. Mm-hmm. Humans on an individual level are fine, but once you start getting into crowds, once cultural energy is rippling, I don't know that it's possible to stop without enough pain. So we'll see. Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of like comparisons about how this is hitting different communities. There's this sports commentator, Miami Jones on ESPN, who says all the time, there's really two Americas. And depending on where your Twitter feed lies in the algorithm, there's definitely two stark reactions. And it's interesting to me how some people have evangelized Charlie Kirk, even comparing this to the slaying of MLK. Other people are saying this is this is white people's George Floyd moment because it's like a public execution of somebody that looks like them over something that was unjust, and now this is rallying it. I see the chants on the other side. I see Charlie Kirk being a symbol for American values and American symbolism. He got a Medal of Honor, or Medal of Freedom. So there's a lot of different reactions going across the spectrum. Is that, I know we talk about populism enough, and I don't want that to be kind of the buzzword that kind of bails us out, but to see such a stark point, this couldn't have just been over the killing. This is just the exposure of it. Like that bullet kind of lifted up the rock where all the ants kind of climbed and went away. But those divisions didn't get sown once that gun was shot. It got sown decades, months, years, whatever time frame ago, it seems like. Because how stark the difference is just baffling to me. So I'm still processing it live. Like even right now, like live on camera, I'm still processing it. But it's fascinating to me. I know we got a slang of reactions. I don't even know where to start because I feel like it's going to
play the one on the college campus where they're like, hey, this is the Utah Valley University, where they're walking around saying, hey, did you just hear that Charlie Kirk got shot? These are, well, don't worry, we're going to play things from both sides because everybody's got a lunatic reaction to this as far as
this is UT Austin.
Charlie Kirk got shot and killed. How do you feel?
Happy. Goodbye.
Wow. Did you see that Charlie Kirk just got shot and killed?
That's good.
Wow, that's good. That's good that people are getting shot just off a political view. Good that people are dying in America.
Did you see that Charlie?
So pause it for a second. Some of this is youth. Like you're going to find. I am so glad that when I was this age that there were no cameras in my face, because I would have said my share of unhinged stuff. The brain doesn't even stop developing until you're 25. You certainly, for the most part, some people will have, but the vast majority of people will not have thought through their views well. They won't have a map of reality where it's all interconnected. And so they'll have individual thoughts that you can topple or even show that they have self-contradictory beliefs. So I have deep empathy from that perspective. A lot of these guys are caught up in narratives. We're all caught up in narratives. But it is very troubling to me to see how pervasive and how extreme this narrative is.
What, the good narrative?
No. On this side, where good that he's dead.
Oh, good that he's dead.
Yeah. That it should be extremely difficult to find people that will be that glib about somebody's assassination. And we're in a moment now where people are all too ready to be glib about the fact that he died. But anyway, keep going because it gets worse as this goes.
Kirk got shot and killed today.
Yes, I did.
How do you feel about that?
I don't really have any feelings about it. Who are you?
Charlie Kirk got shot and killed today. We're just getting people's opinions. How do you feel about that?
Girl, someone had to do it. And that's how I feel at this point in time. But
Yeah, I appreciate your honesty. I truly do. So you said someone had to do it.
yes.
Try not to get all pulled up into that, but he was a misogynist. He was a disgusting person with disgusting beliefs.
So if you had a magical wand, a magical button that you could press and keep him from being assassinated, would you press that?
No. I think things happen for a purpose. And if that's how his life was ended, then that's how it was ended. So.
Yeah. Okay. So I see some of the comments in the chat saying, hey, these are like fringe beliefs. The very thing that I'm trying to get people to understand is it should be hard to find somebody that has fringe beliefs. You should not just be able to walk around campus over judging by the shadows, this is all in a pretty tight time period. Call it over a couple of hours in one location. You shouldn't be able to find 5 or 6 people that have that, what I will call just completely unhinged response to someone being assassinated, whether they're on your team or not. The thing that I'm trying to get across to people is we are on tribes. We are on teams. Being on a team has a deranging effect to the way that people think through a problem. So the very thing that I want to remind myself in my own life, the thing that I want to put out into the world, the thing that I hope that people, like if I got killed, I would want people to say he was always trying to get people to think from first principles. He was always trying to get people to map their values and then say, hey, here are the ways that I think by having this value system, it's actually going to take me to where my goals are. And what you're seeing here are people that they're in tribal thinking and their team has a set of beliefs that just make it easy for them to have such a glib response to something so tragic. And when your team's narrative gives you a take that allows you to look into somebody being assassinated and say, yeah, cool, that's good. Yeah, no, I wouldn't undo that. Like this all just happens for a reason. That's the very thing that I'm worried about. So it isn't even the message from these young kids. It is that we have these pat messages that are pulling away from each other as fast as possible. That is the problem. So clowning on these kids for having a dumb belief, whatever, like that certainly isn't what I'm advocating for. If I saw any of these people, I would not be yelling at them and saying, you're so unhinged. The thing that I'm trying to talk people back from is don't allow yourself to slip into a narrative stream where you're not thinking about, okay, hold on a second, where am I trying to get to? Because if where you want to get to is my team is right, the other team is wrong, we're going to have to clear out, like, girl, somebody had to do it. That's somebody who's like, look, the opposing team is so dangerous, we just have to get rid of them. And so it's actually good news when somebody like that gets taken out. You're not taking on the knock-on effect. Even if you're just like, well, it was good that one person did it so the rest will shut up. It's like, so hold on a second. You want to use violence to eliminate free speech because you can't get free speech removed. You want to eliminate free speech full stop. You don't think that that has knock-on effects that are going to be exceedingly dangerous for you. So that's where I am very unnerved. Ray Dalio is banging a drum and saying economic things are creating a hatred within our own country. This is a pattern that repeats in history. Watch what's going to happen. You get north of 130% debt to GDP, and you break out into civil war. It's just a loop. And so it's like not being able to interrupt it, not being able to get people to see what's happening. That's the thing that scares me the most.
I'm going to call a pivot really quick. Aaron Eileen kind of brought this up. There is a video circulating about Charlie Kirk saying that there are going to be an unfortunate amount of gun deaths that are worth it for the Second Amendment. Now
that's a hard pivot, so I don't know if you want to show the other side making equally outlandish claims, because I don't want people to think that I think this is a left problem. This is not a left problem.
I don't say that. I just think right now it's getting cooked in the chat. That's it. So I'm like, before we talk about what people's responses are, should we then say, okay, from Charlie's words himself, what he said about these things?
Sure, but this is a very different issue, and I think people. But we're there now.
No,
so,
we can separate. We got plenty. No. I'm a great DJ. We can switch because I got it queued up. So then, we can get there. Yeah, we can get there.
Let's not forget that. Okay. But
you want to do the Joker, the that one?
No. Show the flip side. We'll show the Joker thing in a second. I just don't want people to get lost in the left is a bunch of lunatics and that's what just happened. We're witnessing the left being crazy. We saw the last political assassinations, at least that I'm aware of here in the U.S., was what happened in Minnesota. That's, as far as I know, that was a Trump supporter killing multiple people. Well, killing one, his spouse, and then or her husband, and then trying to kill another and their spouse. So it's like, so that one didn't catch, I think because people just didn't know them in the way that they know Charlie Kirk. But that's the other side, being just as unhinged. So people getting into a narrative stream that this is all about the left being crazy would be a mistake. So anyway,
I was going here. This is where I was going with the...
Matt Walsh will be a perfectly good stand-in for the right.
Copy.
Over the past 24 hours, I've seen some in the media, some of the very same people who intentionally stoked murderous hatred against people like Charlie Kirk and Charlie Kirk specifically, now saying that we need to turn down the temperature and start having conversations. Well, Charlie tried to have conversations with you on the left, and you killed him for it.
Okay, pause. So, and you killed him for it. So this is where this all starts to break really bad. There was a guy that killed him for it, presumably. Technically, we don't know who actually did it, but all signs point to, first of all, the thought of a woman being a sniper killing political opponents just strikes me as...
The image release seemed like it was a white male.
Yeah, while not impossible, certainly seems very unlikely. So... but saying that you did it, your side, you guys, bad guys, that is the problem. Like, that's the very thing that we have to back off of. That is the mindset that person was in. Now, whether we end up finding out that this is a punchline about a trans activist, which there was something written on the bullet that would lead people to believe that is the case. We'll see. Fullness of time, let that come out. But no matter what, that person was on a team in their head, believed I see things clearly, so much so that I should be allowed to be judge, jury, and executioner. It's really wild. And so now I don't think, I disagree with Destiny, who says this is a blatant call for violence. I wouldn't go that far, but he is revealing a stance that is certainly like very much, you guys are wrong. You are a group, you are a monolith, you have done bad thing. I am on the right side of history. I am seeing this clearly. And so now you've pushed me in a position where we're going to have to fight back. He does not ever say that we're going to have to fight back violently, but fight. Mm-hmm. All right, let him finish.
You're killing us in our churches. You tried to kill our president. You killed one of our greatest advocates in Charlie Kirk. You have been openly cheering for and celebrating and encouraging and committing political violence for years. Antifa, BLM, well-funded, highly orchestrated, widespread movements based in and fueled by violence. You made a hero out of Luigi Mangione. And you celebrate Charlie's death even now. It's too late to turn the temperature down. This is not a time to hold hands. It's a time for justice. This is a time for good to fight back against evil. It is time for the righteous to prevail for the sake of our country and for our families and our children and for Charlie.
Okay, so the thing that I take away from there isn't that I think his message is unhinged or anything like that. It is time for justice. It is time for the righteous to prevail. Now, will we agree on who the righteous are? Probably not. Will we agree on what justice is? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But the words he's using bother me only in as much as it makes it clear that he's on a team. And he is lumping everybody. Like, we don't even know who killed Charlie yet. So for him to assume, this is just the left and you guys are all one big basket of things, you're all wrong. Team thinking does not lead anywhere good. So that's what I worry about. So yeah, I hope people do not break along the lines of there are a good group and there is a bad group and we are now at war with each other. That is not how I think people should be looking at this. This is, how do we get to the fundamental values? How do we get to the structure of structurally what is happening that's making this a problem? And I do admittedly feel very weird reminding everybody this is all coming from economic problems, because that feels so weird in a time where people are emotional. Like, if I were at Charlie's funeral and they asked me to speak, I'm not going to mention the economy. Mm-hmm. But I'm doing that out of social obligation, if that makes sense. You just know that's the wrong thing to talk about.
Wrong place, wrong time.
But it is the truth. And so this is where we start detaching ourselves from what's really happening. What are the actual underlying causes? And we go to what sounds right. How do we do the rallying cry? Mm-hmm. Like, if I had to lead people into battle, I wouldn't be like, now remember, as we go down to fight, that this all comes from inflation. Like, you wouldn't do that. So I get how people are going to, they're going to feel what he feels. Mm-hmm. They're going to speak in an evocative way because it feels so good to speak in that way to get people rallied up. And then all hope is lost, because now we're totally detached from reality. We're at the level of what I call the T. It's pure emotion. We're fighting about something that's completely abstracted from what's really going on. But it is the thing that feels good. It is the narrative that is simple enough to spread, to get everybody to drink it up and then get their blood boiling. And then now we can have the real fight that people want to have. But it will be completely non-productive. And at the end of that fight, with more bloodshed, all that people will have is fatigue. And if people could understand that the way that wars end is you kill somebody so much and they kill you so much that eventually maybe one of you wins and the other side just can't continue to fight. But by the end of it, everybody goes, whoa, this is way more horrible than I ever could have imagined. And I don't ever want to go through that again. Nobody goes, that was dope. We had a great time. It is just horror from top to bottom. But people never see it until they've been through it.
Yeah. I want to bring up the Joker thing because I feel like this is the mentality that a lot of people are perpetrating, that this is how we got to this point.
Before you play that, let me just set this up. So the narrative that we're all going to have to see through in the coming weeks is the left is unhinged. No, the right is unhinged. And both sides are going to be doing that. they're missing the meta problem of a populist moment is about teams. So we're dividing into us versus them, oversimplifying categories. So this is an awesome video. If you're on the right, you're going to look at this and be like, yo, 100%. But you can make the same video showing people from the right saying a bunch of unhinged shit. When you miss that part, because if you're on the right, this is going to feel true. If you flip it and show people on the right saying all the bad things, and you're on the left, it's going to feel true. And so now both of them are going to have their supercuts. This is the thing that drives me crazy about Destiny, is he's very good at reminding people the right says unhinged shit, but he glosses over the unhinged shit that the left says. I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, he's very smart. He knows it's there. So I don't know. That's when it always feels like Destiny steps into spinning a narrative. So the very thing that we must do to not end up somewhere full of blood is recognize, everybody's being pushed onto a team. The act of being pushed onto a team is the problem. All right, so anyway, here's a team video for you.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
Are they a threat to democracy? Yes. Are they going to take our rights away? Yes. Are they going to put people's lives in danger? Yes. Are they going to endanger the planet by not dealing with climate change? Yes.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
She's a genuine danger to American security.
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump.
Even
and
the
that's
way
a fact.
We have to preserve our democracy.
Sounds like an actor. Like, that's wild.
Biden never sounded that menacing ever in all 4 years, 30 years he's been in the White House or on the Senate floor. Never sounded that
Or
menacing.
speak out against lies and hate.
There needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Have a consistent narrative about how dangerous Trump is.
President Biden has been clear-eyed about the threat that the former president represents to our democracy.
Yeah.
Donald Trump
Here's the
is
thing,
an
man. Pause it for a second. Like, I will say, it is unwise to constantly say the other team is a danger, they're a threat, they're like Nazis, like all that stuff. The only thing I can see people on the left is like, well, they're not calling for violence. If you say enough times that the other team is like the worst perpetrators of crimes in terms of what we teach young people to be aware of and all of that, over and over and over and over, like eventually people are going to get the message and be like, oh, these are this is true evil. And I always said I was going to be the person that hid Anne Frank in my attic. This is my shot. Now, obviously, it is a very small number of people that will actually take action on it, but you are creating that milieu, and it is a terrible idea. It's a terrible idea on the left. It's a terrible idea on the right, but it does happen.
Yeah, I think we landed the plane on that video. I don't think we need to continue to perpetrate it. Is this one of those situations where we're just going to have to let it play out? Because
is there another option?
Because
I will scream into a camera as much as I possibly can, explaining to people, hey, like you're getting sucked into a narrative. Hey, like don't be a tribal thinker. Hey, by the way, cause and effect is all that matters. I will try. I will do everything I can. I will try to convince people that the world operates on a set of rules. Those rules are knowable. Once you understand the rules, you can understand how people are trying to manipulate you and therefore can eject out of the manipulation. It is not emotionally evocative. That's the problem. I have long lamented that saying what is true calmly and collectedly does not get people to pay attention. Like you need the theatrics of it all. And I never used to break a sweat while filming. Now I do, because I realize like I've got to deliver it in a way that cuts through the noise. And so I'm over here like, freaking out and still trying to say a very metered, very middle of the road thing, but in a way that feels emotionally evocative. But man, like it just isn't, it is out of alignment with somebody whose blood is already boiling. If their blood is already boiling, the odds that you can get them to calm down until they get to do their proper freak out is very, very low.
And freak out, they are. I am going to I have to like stand 10 toes down because when we were talking about the North Carolina.
All right, hold on. Because this is now real fractal. We've got to get back to the first one that you pitched that I said, hold on, let's.
Oh, you want to do, so you do want to do Charlie. I was going to save that segment too, but okay, we could jump.
Yeah, let's wrap this one thing up and then we'll move on. So here's Charlie talking about gun violence.
So we need to be very clear that you're not going to get gun deaths to zero. It will not happen. You can significantly reduce them through having more fathers in the home, by having more armed guards in front of schools. We should have an honest and clear reductionist view of gun violence, but we should not have a utopian one. You will never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun death. That is nonsense. It's drivel. But
this whole argument is, I don't know, this is a little bit nonsensical. I don't know that we're ever going to go anywhere with the should we have guns, should we not have guns debate. But the thing that I think people are really talking about with this is, oh, what an own goal. Like, oh, what a fool. Like, he wasn't trying to stop guns and he got killed by a gun. Like, oh, I bet he wishes he had never said that now. No, he's not going to say that. What he, like, if you could magically speak to him beyond the grave, he's going to say something like, this is what I think he would say. Mm-hmm. The left is out of their minds, and they used guns to silence a person who was nonviolent, who was debating. They didn't have any good ideas. They couldn't meet the challenge of the debate. And because their ideas are so bad that there's no way they can defend them, they had to resort to violence. Not what the writers of the Constitution intended with the Second Amendment, blah, blah, blah. So this does not feel like Charlie like scoring an own goal on himself from where I'm sitting, and you're not going to see anybody on the right be like, yo, it's so true.
I don't think it's an own goal. I think it's, I'm going to paint this picture, right? Hypothetically speaking, let's just connect some dots and see if it's emotion or if it makes sense. Dot number one, Charlie Kirk says that it's necessary certain people will have to die in order to maintain the Second Amendment.
Yep.
We got to be okay with people getting killed with guns.
Yep.
Dot number two, Charlie Kirk gets killed. Charlie Kirk gets quoted that empathy is a made up concept. He doesn't believe in empathy for people. We need to talk about statistics. We need to talk about facts.
I need to see that.
I can bring up that clip, but hypothetically speaking, again, I'm just connecting dots. Let's say that I can pull up a clip in 2 seconds that he says that quote for quote. He gets murdered in a white campus by a professional sniper, it seems like 200 yards away. There were armed security standing right behind him. So to his point, security. I don't know about the father status of the killer, but let's assume he had a father. Maybe he didn't have a father. Okay, cool. And then now he passes and everybody's expecting empathy. They're expecting sympathy. And when other people don't have that sympathy, they're now getting villainized. So I think to say this is a sad tragedy, it's true, it is a sad tragedy. But when people are connecting those dots of he was advocating that it's okay that some people die because of gun deaths, he got killed on a white campus, his last words were gang violence, and he was killed by a white shooter. And so like as you're kind of putting all these together, and then now it's like he died, he was always advocating for the right thing. Now you're kind of saying like, well, wait, 2 kids died on the day he died, and we're not even talking about those 2 kids. 3 kids died, or there was 3 people injured, shot. I don't know what their status is now. The next day because of it, like there was 2 mass shootings. He got shot on the same day of a mass shooting. Like the irony is stacking on top, on top, on top, on top. So when there's certain people that when you say like, hey, Charlie Kirk just died, and people are like, that doesn't make them radical left murderist. And then to bring it back to the Matt Walsh thing, it's not Antifa or BLM that are driving these things. Like, so I'm putting all these things on the table to just say that, yes, no kid should outlive their parent, or no parent should outlive their kid, whatever the saying is.
That's correct.
So the fact that like his 3-year-old daughter and his wife had to see blood gushing from the neck on the front row, deplorable, horrible, despicable, all the right things. Every left leader from AOC to Obama to Hillary to everybody that says we condemn the violence. It's terrible. It's horrible. All those things. So as I'm linking chain all these things, And then you still hear Donald Trump saying it's the radical leftist. This is crazy. You still hear Matt Walsh saying we need to fight evil with evil. You're hearing all these people calling for violence or fighting back. We have the chance of the white people getting white men must fight back. Like, fight back against who? Where are these coming from? Like, this is the type of energy that is coming from different sides that we're not talking about. So I'm not saying that it's a own on Charlie Kirk, but when MLK died, they quoted the I Have a Dream speech. When Charlie Kirk was passed, I don't know if we're going to quote the last 5 things he said before he passed. And I think that...
Well, they're already doing that. So they're already quoting the wonderful things that he said, and the right is 100% eulogizing him in a whitewashed way that's going to cover up some of the more controversial things that he said. So I don't know that I track that argument, but you've said a buffet of things before us. So let's take one dish at a time.
Okay.
So dish number one, a guy who says, not even like, as far as I know, this is not like Charlie Kirk's major plank, but has clearly talked about it before, where he said, we're never going to get gun violence to zero, which seems like a very straightforward statement of fact. We live in a world where we have a whole lot of guns. We have a constitutional mandate's not the right word. It's enshrined in the Constitution that we have a right to bear arms. So it's like, well, that is what it is. So people are going to use this as a moment to talk about that we should be rescinding that, or we should be putting like really strict controls on it, whatever their takeaway is going to be. So if people want to use anytime that there's gun violence as a impetus to let's have the conversation, let's do something sensible, fair enough. But what I've seen with this is people using it to mock Charlie, to laugh, to say, see, like, all right, fucking idiot, like you got what you deserved, which you'll see plenty of people saying exactly that, either because of his stance on abortion, which we have a clip on where a woman's like, I don't care that he died. He had a different view than I do on abortion, so fuck him. Or because it's, well, you seem perfectly willing to have a lot of guns, so fuck you, like you should get killed with one. It's like that, the level of absurdity with that is crazy. So just because he believes that we have a right to bear arms does not mean that he's saying, or even that inevitably there's going to be a certain number of people killed by it. That does not mean that he deserves to be killed. So it's like, we've got to separate those. I'm not saying you're saying that, but I'm saying people are saying that. I have seen them say that.
Nobody deserves to be shot.
Correct. So now it's like, okay, well, if we can separate that out, and if we can say, yeah, have the debate about gun control, all of that, but the laughing at Charlie because he said that there's inevitably going to be a certain number of people that die, if that becomes like the thing that we're talking about here, that's where I'm like, this is people getting sucked into the tea of it all instead of the like real underlying issue, which, just to remind everybody, is once you make people feel economically insecure, they get into their emotions. Once they're in their emotions because they are afraid, they go onto teams. Once they are on teams, they start voting for people that are essentially willing to fight against the other side to protect their way of life. That's the problem. Everything else is window dressing. So have the debate about whether we want to remove the Second Amendment. I mean, that's exactly what a democracy is about. If people are here for it, whatever. So, but like if Charlie Kirk had said, listen, I don't think we should get rid of cars. There's always going to be a certain number of car deaths. And then he dies in a car accident. Would we say that he was a moron for saying that there should be cars? Like that just seems like a strange, it is a strange argument. That is somebody who's in an emotional place and they want to dunk on somebody, which, hey, fine. Yeah. On that, I will say, Charlie, you live by the sword, you die by the sword, in the sense that he liked to dunk on people. And so, cool, you die, people are going to dunk on you for things. That just is what it is. But I just don't want to see people get lost in the surface level debate. Like get down to the substantive part, like both on gun violence and how we want to handle that moving forward. What do we think is the right way to do it? And on the fact that we are being pulled onto these teams with oversimplified rhetoric, and I think that's where we're lost.
Do you think people are entitled to empathy?
Do I think people are entitled to empathy? I I think it is unwise to approach the world from a place of entitlement, but your life will be so much better if you give empathy.
Copy.
If you find your way to empathizing with the people that you disagree with the most, your life will be so much better. Empathy is a connective, like it triggers a neurochemical cascade that makes you feel love and connection for your fellow man, and that is a very good place to be. So I don't like to use the word entitled, but I think that empathy is insanely powerful.
Okay. Should we jump to the marches, or do you want to?
Well, I know we've got. Yeah, we should be with chat.
Yeah.
I'm over here. I saw a red one come through. Say what? Appreciate that.
We have a couple of super chats.
So
first off, with Arian Brown for $100.
Hey, appreciate the $100 super chat, Arian Brown.
Has the DNA and structure of capitalism left and gone to China? I'm perfectly fine with internalizing my thoughts and not being outspoken for a more safe society. Should I learn Mandarin and immigrate my family to China so my daughter has the best possible outcome?
Wow.
Whoa. Well, so, oh God, that is a very difficult question to answer because it really comes down to what do you want your daughter's future to look like? Where are you in terms of economic opportunity? Is that you want maximal upside economic opportunity? Do you want maximum downside protection? So there are a lot of different countries in the world that have a lot of different approaches. If you want maximal stability and you don't mind paying a massive tax burden, then going somewhere where, like Norway, which has incredible natural resources and a culture that is just all about spreading the wealth to everybody, but they are certainly not building companies at the rate that America does or China does. So from an upside economic opportunity, not great. Also from a, man, if something ever goes wrong, those guys don't have the kind of military resilience that we have. So it all comes down to what you're looking for. I would never, ever, 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 ever move somewhere that has a dictatorship, because when that breaks bad, it breaks so bad. It's like bureaucracy that actually kills people, like kills a lot of people. Just as a friendly reminder, back in the 1960s, which if you're my age is not that long ago, China killed like 45 million people through bad policy. Yikes. Yikes. Remember, middle school students were beating their teachers to death. Okay? At the request of the supreme leader. So I don't want to live in a country where people are like, well, but that's better than the fragmentation that we had before that. Hard pass. That doesn't, like, never in a million years. Now, should you teach your daughter Chinese? Certainly not a bad idea, because they are at least on par with America as a economy, and so they're going to matter a lot. But would you want to move there? That's a totally different question that has a whole lot of details that would need to be worked through. So define your value system. Start from there.
Next super chat from Mr. G. Chase Hughes just released a video walking through how division is being propagated amongst all of us. We are all being played with tribalism. Get to the middle and stop claiming a side. Model your values and stand for them.
Well, that sounds perfect to me. So yeah, I agree aggressively. Now, I don't know who Chase Hughes is, but that certainly sounds like
was one of
my
Lisa's
pitch.
guests.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
I got a clip
I don't
of
know
it.
if I met him or not, but
the minute that your ideas require violence to enforce or spread, they're already completely bankrupt. Every tyrant, every failed ideology, every social collapse starts the exact same way. The debate dies, then violence takes the place of debate. And you can't argue with a gun. You can only kill with it. And when killing is the substitute for a conversation, society as a whole starts falling off a cliff. We all have been sold the biggest con of our entire life. And this is that the problem is left versus right, or Republicans versus Democrats. And that is the
I agree with all this. This certainly sounds
fireworks show that they want us screaming about while they're doing something else. This is a magician's trick, and I'm about to really show you what Charlie, God rest his soul, has kind of exposed here. If you turned on cable news today, maybe you scroll social media, what are you going to see? The absolute fringe. They're going to show you the loudest, dumbest, most cartoonish people from the other side blasted in your face 24/7. You're not being shown your neighbor or your coworker or the mom next door who votes differently. You're being shown a bunch of professional lunatics that are handpicked to make
I think he's wrong about that. So I think people want this to be a little more fringe than it is. So Chase and I aggressively agree on the fact that we are being pulled onto tribes, but to call it a magician's trick is probably a little misleading. It is the way that your brain is wired. We are hardwired to do this. And that has been triggered via the economic uncertainty. And so this goes back to the spark versus the kindling. The kindling has been being laid down since basically 1971. We go off the gold standard. We start inflating the money supply like mad. It starts killing the American dream, and a whole host of other policies. Obviously, when I talk about that, I'm oversimplifying something. But that starts laying down all this kindling. And now, as we get into the deeper and deeper innings of people feeling economically insecure, they are tribing up because the anger gives them the certainty. So as a PSA, I will remind everybody that they did a study where they put electrodes in people's brains and they poked around on the different emotions. So love, lust, joy, and anger. And it was more than that, but you get the idea. And they then asked the people, hey, of all the emotions that I just triggered in you, which one do you want me to trigger again? And it was anger.
Wow.
So I know that shocks people, but there is something so intoxicating about the moral certainty that comes with being angry. When you're angry, you know you're right. You know what to do. You know how to move forward. It is a sense of superiority that the thing you have been aggrieved so much that you have a right to go after that person. And that level of certainty feels so good. And so what's promised to people in a populist moment is certainty. It is hyper oversimplified. It is aggressive in nature. It is punitive in nature, and all of that feels awesome. I am the good guy. They are the bad guy. I have every right to go after them, to pursue them. And if you can get people to feel like that, oh my God, they love it the most. This is why people use fear and anger. Fear is, I must solve this problem. I must learn what is causing this, what is going on, so people pay attention. Anger is, I know what's wrong, and now I'm fucking going after it. So yeah, beware. But this is not like a big bamboozle that's being played by politicians. This is coming from the economic uncertainty that puts people into their emotions because they are afraid, and then they team up to get that certainty that they crave so much. That's the loop, but it's nature that played that trick on you.
Brutus Lugo had a good point. On the left, you have opinions of fringe Twitter accounts and random college kids, while on the right, you have Fox News, conservative politicians, and the president even stoking that.
Brutus, you're so we just played the thing from the Joker, not from the Joker, but anyway, somebody interspersing the politicians on the left, all of them mainstream politicians, saying rhetoric that is way elevated and very divisive.
But you can't compare, but even Trump in his response after Charlie Kirk did say, the radical left is causing this. We need to come
Did you not pay attention to the Joker clip? They're literally saying the same thing. The left is saying
but I'm saying you're comparing.
Biden,
you're comparing leading up to the election versus Charlie Kirk is pronounced dead. It's because of the radical left.
Okay, so we're just saying on this one thing, the left has a better response.
No, because you're saying the left does it, the right does it. Yep. But I'm saying you're taking 10 years of evidence of different clips picked from the left and the announcement of, we found out about Charlie Kirk. This is all the tweets of people of left-leaning politicians are saying today.
Yeah.
And then this is what Trump said, who announced the news said. So I do think that timing is important.
Okay. So let me make sure I'm understanding what you're saying.
Yeah.
Tom, the left's response to Charlie Kirk's very measured, very metered, this is all good. The right's is unhinged.
That's a wild oversimplification. I just don't think they're apples and apples. Like, I think that
so
if you give me 10 years, I can get a bunch of different clips of how Tom feels over a certain subject.
Yeah.
We just found out about Charlie Kirk. Hey, I'm President Trump. I'm announcing that this is happening. It's the radicals' left fault.
Right.
Like, so you're saying that's the same as what the left was saying?
100%.
Got it. Okay.
So
it doesn't matter.
Sure,
it doesn't.
Like right now in this moment, who's
Understood.
making the louder noises? The right, because it's their guy that just got assassinated. But it is so easy to find equally unhinged things from the left. And so the very thing that I am begging people to do is not see this as a left or right thing, to see this as a populist response that all humans fall into. It does not matter what team you're on. Once you're on a team, all hope is already lost. And so what I hear people saying is, no, Tom, like this is a left problem, or no, Tom, this is a right problem. I'm like, what the fuck? I literally just went through this.
Left and right is the problem.
Yes. The second you're on a team, the second you identify with the overly simplified narrative that leads you to believe I am in the right, they are in the wrong, we're into a land of madness. Like even the things that I'm most vociferous about that I believe and I think that I'm right and all that stuff, those are the very things that I go away and go, God, I must be wrong about some of this. I really need to think through this, which is why I'm never going to go kill somebody who vote like Mamdani. I think he's going to ruin people's lives. I think if he gets elected, I think he's going to make things so much worse, but I'm not going to go kill somebody. I'm just not that convinced that I see it clearly, that there are things that are way too complicated. So as I have said many times, I want to be convincing. I don't know that I want to convince. So it's like, I want to put my ideas out into the world. I want to see people react to them. I want to constantly refine. I want to constantly make sure that I'm making contact with cause and effect. Now, I'd be lying if I said that there weren't things that I was willing to fight for. But boy, oh boy, do I try to avoid allowing myself to ever have that level of clarity and certainty that other people want to intoxicate people with. I think it is extremely high risk. And so to pull me back into, but wait, in this moment, the right is more unhinged. That's the very thing I'm saying don't do. This is the thing I look at Destiny and I'm like, hold on, like you're such a clear thinker. And yet, like you either get sucked into the emotion of it because you like the theatricality of it, or you actually are blind and can't see that this is a being on a team problem versus like the specifics of this moment. So yeah, that is the very thing that I'm trying to get people to understand. Don't be on a team.
We just got breaking news. This is reportedly, again, I'm taking it from New York Post, but I have a Twitter link that actually shows the kid. 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, who this person's probably on the team, was a registered Republican in Utah, according to state records. They're kind of matching up, showing that this is the dude that did it. So yeah, I hope that this kid's life is, I don't know if this is that person. I don't want to start digging through because I don't know where to go. But
here's the thing. If this ends up
it.
being a Republican, yet another reason why being on a team is the wrong level of analysis.
Mm-hmm.
So it is the fact that we team up that we get into this degree of I'm so certain. So for instance, there's a account that I follow that's Republicans against Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, they're just as teamed up as Republicans for Trump.
Yeah.
So it's like, don't blanket be for or against anyone. Figure out what is the cause and effect of the situation, then take each thing as we go. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how all of this plays out. But the very problem is being so certain in your rightness that you're willing to kill somebody. That's the problem.
Yeah. Tough times. I feel like chat is going in a bunch of different directions. Let me know. We got tons of more reactions.
Well, let's start. Like, what are the directions that they're going in? Mason, take it away.
Honestly, it's a bit hard to parse.
Just because it's so all over the place?
Yeah, like how is this kid being influenced? This is just another Republican.
Yeah.
Tom is self-aware and has the approach that I know I've been wrong before, therefore I could be wrong again.
Do we want
stuff?
We could go to Kaizen's response. We haven't played that yet.
Yeah, this is great. Love this.
Let's jump to that. Oh, that came out of TikTok. I don't know how that happened. Okay, here we go.
Kirk is dead. Maybe you're glad Charlie Kirk is dead. Maybe you think he was racist, transphobic, xenophobic, hateful, and harmful to your community. Maybe you think the world is better off without him. I'm not going to tell you to feel sad, but I do want to show you where this is headed. Because when that assassin squeezed the trigger, they didn't just shoot at Charlie. They shot at all of us.
Correct.
Political violence is on the rise against leaders on both sides.
Correct.
Melissa Hortman, Paul Pelosi, Josh Shapiro, Donald Trump, and now Charlie Kirk. In every single one of these cases, there was someone absolutely convinced they were doing the right thing. Someone who found a way to justify physical violence. Someone who said, well, look at the other side. They were convinced by their black and white view of the world. Communist, fascist, far left, far right. Our opinions are subjective, but physical violence is real.
Yeah.
Many of you disagree with the actions of our current government, which Charlie helped elect. That's understandable. But amidst your critiques of the government, don't forget this. Nature is governed by violence.
Yeah.
For most of human history,
really like this guy.
Disputes were settled by violence. Before civilization, in some places, 50% of people were murdered.
That's
half the people behind me would kill the other half. That's why we gave governments, not individuals, the right to use force. But sometimes we find an individual so repulsive, we're convinced it's okay. Just this one time.
Yeah.
I don't condone violence, but the statement begins. That but is a dark whisper. There should be no but. Everything after but is permission for the next bullet.
Correct.
Any political killing should be considered the highest threat. But we've become desensitized to violence. We think it's just pixels on a screen, so we judge people we don't know. Our tribe becomes a jury, and we applaud the executioner. But here's the thing.
Wild. Have you seen that? Pause that for a
it's
second.
Never just one.
Have you seen that footage of that guy? So, yeah, if you guys aren't looking at your screen right now, there was a guy, literally, Charlie's just hit the ground, bleeding to death, and there's a guy that stands up while everyone else is ducking from the gunshot. He stands up and he's pumping his arms in the air and clearly glad that Charlie got shot. I mean, that is fucking deranged, man. That is deranged. This is Charlie Kirk. This is not somebody that's been out there shooting people. This is wild. What a weird response.
And we applaud the executioner. But here's the thing. It's never just one bullet. The gun that is aimed at your enemy today gets aimed at you tomorrow. Suddenly, the cheers around you now become the silence around your own grave. This is why we must condemn everything that comes after but, even if it comes from our own side. Yet, we've become so arrogant, so certain we know the whole truth, that all the angels are in our tribe and all the demons are in theirs. We rage about media bias, yet worship our echo chamber. We are obese with knowledge, but starved for wisdom. The message that was sent by Charlie's assassin was clear. He was shot in the throat while speaking freely with those who disagreed and allowing them to do the same.
Wild.
He lived by the mic.
Crazy.
What do you mean?
That he got shot in the throat. Like, how do you, we're in the Matrix. Like, of all places for him to be shot, in the throat? Like, that, I don't know. It's just so wild to me.
And died by the sword. This wasn't just an assassination.
Play
it was
that
an
line again. I
attack
thought that was
died to
arguably
disagree
the best line in this.
and allowing them to do the same. He lived by the mic and died by the sword. This wasn't just an assassination.
He lived by the mic and died by the sword.
It was an attack
That's
on civilization.
A big part of the problem.
Our nation is held together by a thread, and that thread is fraying. The social fabric is tearing, and we must unite to weave it anew. We need humility to see not just the speck in the opponent's eye, but the log in our own. Because this isn't about right or left. This is about good versus evil. and we're all on each side. So we all got a
Well
choice to
said.
make. We can choose to heal or an eye for an eye until we're all blind and cannot see.
Yeah.
And then the next bullet may be aimed at you, or it could be me.
Wow, mic drop.
Yeah, no, Kaizen is phenomenal. Okay, so it is going to be a really interesting debate if this guy's a registered Republican, and let's say actually somebody who really sees himself as on that team, was the trans rhetoric on the bullet meant to deflect from who he is? If not, and this is a person who is a registered Republican but is like knee deep in trans ideology, then where do you put them on the political compass? That'll be a fascinating debate. But again, that's getting pulled down into the, like, you've already passed the part that actually matters, which is somebody believing so strongly that they are right, that they're willing to kill. It's crazy. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, like, is this guy mentally ill? Or is he just that convinced of his rightness? There were people pulling footage of somebody that looked vaguely like him debating Charlie at a previous event. So it'll be interesting to see if that really is that guy.
Like he lost the debate and then he came back to get him type thing?
Yeah, so he showed up and he had, again, I don't know that this is the same person, but people were saying, oh, it might be something like that. But he was speaking with a bullhorn into the mic. But yeah, I wouldn't say that in terms of winning the crowd over, he certainly did not. Charlie had the crowd on his side. I didn't see the full thing of it. I just saw a clip, so I won't say who made the better arguments. But if it was that guy, it'll be interesting because he certainly doesn't come across as being trans himself. Certainly there was nothing in his physical display that would lead you to believe that. But who knows? We'll see.
According to Kevin Clancy, Cincy in the chat, TRT is the supposed trans rhetoric on the bullet. TRT is the abbreviation of a Turkish bullet manufacturer. So the trans rhetoric thing could be false.
Wait, TRT? How would anybody take that? Why would that be trans?
Populism.
Isn't that
that's hilarious
for like testosterone supplements or something like
that? TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, but somebody, unless they were a woman taking that, I would never take somebody writing TRT as
this
trans.
entire thing is all speculation. It's
so
constantly
early,
rolling.
so early.
You know, there could be a tweet that comes out tonight that updates all of us on this information. We're still figuring it out.
Lee Scharf, what are you talking about? So Lee Scharf says Thomas Sane washing the rights rhetoric. What? Huh? Hey, I don't understand. I don't get it. Not sure where you draw that conclusion.
Okay, we got to talk about the white men fighting back. These were some of the protests that happened at America tonight.
Fight back! White man, fight back! White man, fight back! White man, fight back!
I really do hate everything about this.
This is hilarious to me, especially now that we realize that it was a white man that killed him. But
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know why that was. I'm legitimately confused by that. So when you said that there were HBCUs that were getting threats, I was like, what? Like, I don't even understand. Like, there wasn't even any rumors that I heard that the person that shot him was a person of color. So I don't know. And I mean, it is my understanding we don't know what the threats were to the HBCUs.
It was just they were violent threats, so they were shut down.
But it's not like there's even any rumors that this was racially motivated. We just assume because it's an HBCU and the proximity to. That's so weird though. Like that would thought exercise because we don't know, but thought exercise. If this person or if the threats were racially motivated, like. What? Like, why would the Charlie thing just seems completely devoid of any racial overtones?
Let's do a thought experiment, right? So, like, if I was a Charlie Kirk supporter, and I loved his everything he was saying, I listened to his rhetoric. I was live streaming the event, and then he was murdered, and then the killer is still at large, And then, I don't know, maybe I hear somebody really influential that I look up to say it's the radical left. When I would want to get back at the radical left, I would need a proximity. I would need something to let my anger out on. So if I wanted to let my anger out on somebody, there isn't like a trans university. There isn't a pink-haired university. I could have went to Starbucks maybe, but I could go to HBCU because I know there's nothing but black people there. And Charlie didn't like black people, so I don't like black people.
Hold on.
Go there.
Did Charlie really say unhinged shit about black people?
Charlie said a lot of unflattering things about black people.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. That part I have not seen.
I don't want to speak ill of the dead. My mom told me not to. God rest his soul. That's between him and Jesus. He's going to have to talk to St. Peter about that. It's not for me to amplify or spin a narrative about. Rest his soul. I pray for his kids. But I'm just giving you the cause and effect of why HBCUs who had nothing to do with it could have did it. So
very interesting.
I'm wrapping all that up to bring up Constantine's tweet, who said, this is from Constantine Kissin, Impact Theory alum. Shout out to Constantine. A great mentor once told me that the greatest insights usually come from noticing what's not there. Yeah, you know what I noticed? Never once since Charlie Kirk was assassinated have I worried about the possibility of riots, burning of cities, autonomous zones, or violence in the streets. And this is for a decent family man murdered in cold blood for his political opinions. In the summer of 2020, all of those things happened across America and many other countries too, over a career criminal who died in police interaction with a negligent and careless cop. Politicians kneeled, media organizations held minutes of silence, and billions were given to BLM in the very days that their supporters burned down entire districts of American cities and killed people to fight racism. To this day, there has not been a shred of evidence presented that George Floyd's death had anything to do with racism. So no, I don't believe either party has a monopoly on political violence. We've seen left-wing politicians attacked and killed too. It's just as awful and just as wrong. But I also think it's worth noticing that what's not there and thinking about why. So to your question of why HBCUs are getting threats, this entire paragraph about him bringing up the summer of 2020 has nothing to do with Charlie Kirk, the person who killed him, or the place where he murdered at. Matt Walsh, he's blaming Antifa and BLM when it was a 22-year-old white dude that killed him. So I think we keep saying rhetoric is bad on both sides and rhetoric is this and rhetoric is that, but we can't act like these people who are currently suffering right now aren't actively pushing rhetoric that is going to be divisive, that is going to, somebody who has a low IQ is going to read this and say, yep, it's BLM's fault. They started this.
I think there are going to be plenty of people with high IQ that are going to do that. Everybody gets trapped inside their frame of reference, and you're going to see what you expect to see, which, dear boys and girls, again, as a PSA, be aware of the likelihood of you seeing what you expect to see, regardless of what's actually there. It's wild. And trust me, I am just as guilty of that as anybody else. So I try to build in defenses to make sure that I'm actually seeing what's really there. Okay, so on this, I get what they're trying to point at. So what Constantine is revealing in terms of his narrative, whether right or wrong, what this tells you is that he has a belief that the left is more likely to, certainly you could say, do mob violence than the right, his take. So it will be interesting to see if we do see the right break in a mob violence way or not. I'd be interested to see stats on that. And this is, everybody is going to debate this stuff endlessly. And I'm torn as to whether I go into the debate or if I just keep trying to remind people that the whole problem is being on a team and seeing it that way. But how do you parse, like, there was a very different reaction to George Floyd than there is so far to Charlie in terms of the public pouring out into the streets?
Historical context has a lot to do with it. I don't think it's the same thing. I think that there is different context. This is the biggest thing, right? What Kaizen just said. The gun is being pointed on you, will eventually get pointed on me. I think this is a lot of people, conservative right-wing people's George Floyd moment, simply because the empathy that they're demanding other people have for Charlie Kirk is not the empathy they were giving to thousands of other people that this had led up to over the last 10 years. So there's been, the George Zimmerman was the first one that we can go back to. This was a grown man following a teenager. He calls 911. 911 says, stop following that teenager. He's in his own neighborhood subdivision. He's on his way home from the store. He has a Snapple on him and a candy bar. He gets killed. The killer gets exonerated. Obama goes on TV and says Trayvon Martin could have looked like my son. I don't have a son, but if I did, he would look like Trayvon Martin. Once those words left his mouth, it immediately split. As how could Obama say this? He's stoking division, all these other things. Right now, Charlie Kirk was shot. The following day, Trump announced half-mast. He gave him the Medal of Freedom immediately. There was a state representative, an actual public servant, who was murdered 3 months ago. Donald Trump didn't even tweet about it. Senators on his side of his party were laughing about it. They were calling it up. Minnesota, that's what they get. Gay Tim Walz, that is his state. He needs to take care of it. And then now it happens to somebody that you guys care about. And now all of a sudden we all need to be decent. All of a sudden now is the time that we need to be respectful. Now we need to talk about violence. Now we need to call people unhinged. So it's one of those things where it's like, there's an old Caribbean saying, those who don't hear must feel. So black people have been telling you, hey, America's kind of messed up. We should talk about this. No, it's not. You guys are just complaining. Leftist white people have been telling y'all, hey, America's kind of fucked up. You guys need to listen. No, you're just a hippie. Go work harder. Meritocracy. And then now a white person gets killed and we're seeing all this calls of violence. We're saying, hey, Matt Walsh is going on, hey, America's in a really bad place right now. And we guys really need to listen. And they're looking at the people who have been having those cries and they were being ignored previously. Now I need to come to the table and then give you respect. But again, I personally, Andrew St. Just, I'm not talking as a CEO of Black community. I'm not talking for the voice of Black America. I am not the voice of Black America. We just played a black guy saying the exact opposite thing of what I'm saying. Me personally, how I've been raised by Ian and Monazir St. Just, I know it's not right to talk to go deaf. I know it's not right to say that somebody deserves to die. I know it's not right to slam dunk on Charlie Kirk like, I see, told you, da 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 da. But that's me and my value system, how I was raised, how I was born from Willingboro, New Jersey. There are some other black people that feel exact opposite. There are other black people that are dunking on him right now. There's a whole Twitter thread that showed 20 clips of Charlie Kirk saying ominous things about black people. He called Michelle Obama a DEI hire. She went to Princeton. That's an Ivy League school. There's Ketanji Brown, the only black Supreme Court justice, calling them DEI hires. There was times where the planes were crashing. Charlie Kirk has said, if I go on a plane and I see a black pilot, I'm like, I hope he's qualified. There's 25 of those things. It's not right to spill the dead. So I don't want to go there and just start dunking on him. But to say that like this is the guy that everybody needs to now get on the knee and say we feel sorry for is the same reaction that when people said, hey, this George Floyd thing is bad, and everybody's saying he's a career criminal, he doesn't deserve our sympathy. He deserves to die. He's a criminal. He deserves to die. But now when Charlie Kirk is being told that everybody else is bad and America has no values. So I'm just saying, when one thing happens, we have one response. When another thing happens, we have a different response. And the hypocrisy, the irony, is just very, very deafening.
Well, that was very articulate. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I know that in some ways I have sucked you into the madness of having to comment about things in the public. And I do admittedly apologize for that. You've done such a phenomenal job of rising to the occasion. I'm very, very, very grateful for the amount that you've been willing to put yourself out there. So heard, and that all makes sense. I would be very curious to know what you think about my following response, that everybody is getting caught up in a lower level problem, and that the goal has got to be as a society to pull people up to the level of, okay, what's the real cause and effect of this? How do we move forward from this? Because to me, responding to Charlie Kirk as if this has anything to do with race, even before we found out who the killer was, just seemed absurd on its face. I was just confused. Like I didn't see it coming. I was like, what the fuck is going on? The degree to which even the Derek Chauvin thing was made into something about race, I was like, hold on, I get the optics are terrible, but like what leads us to believe that in that instance that Derek Chauvin was being racist? And not that went well, just why are we immediately going to race? Because
I can't answer that question, but I don't want to derail you, Fractal.
Yeah, bear with me a second. So when I'm approaching these things, I'm trying to figure out, for instance, I think people are making a category error when they look at what is the result, in my opinion, of poverty and they say, oh, this is about being black. And I'm like, okay, like we've already jumped track. And we've gone to the thing that's easy because I can see it. For instance, Zimmerman was Hispanic. So it's like not a white guy killing a black kid. It was a Hispanic killing a black kid, but still, as far as I'm concerned, the wrong level of analysis. And from when Obama responds that way, he's anchoring it in race. So do you think that I'm just really missing something to say, hey, I get that this is where we are. I get that race has become like this obsessive focus. And therefore, because people believe it, that's the thing that they are prone to see. But we're never going to get out of this trap until we come up a higher level and go, okay, either what's stoking the division? Like, why was Zimmerman so convinced that this kid was a problem and he had to be like tracked down and followed and whatever? Maybe it really was race. Okay, but why? Like, what the fuck? How did that become a thing? And so getting back up to the level of, okay, we've got to track cause and effect. We've got to figure out how we begin to unwind this stuff. And for me, I very much take the Morgan Freeman approach of this. If you talk about it obsessively, like this is going to continue. That's just the way the brain works. You become what you repeat. And so if you repeat race is a problem over and over and over and over and over and over and over, then the very act of repeating that makes race a bigger problem. When you hear me do that level of analysis, do you think, oh my God, this fucking white guy is just so detached because he's not in it? Or is it like, yeah, that would be nice. That's just not humans en masse.
I think that's not humans en masse. I'm going to use your words against you. Last live, we talked about socialism and how some people are saying we should pull people together and vote on where profits of companies should go. And you said people don't have the mental capacity to do it, like the IQ, they don't have the know-how of business. We also have the dumb voter problem that we talked about earlier in the year, or last year around the election, that there are some voters who just can't process information at a fast enough speed to make educated decisions. And those are things that I have booklets about. It's easier to understand what to do with company profits than it is to set fiscal policy, than it is to establish race policy in America. So I feel like out of those three things, company policy, government fiscal policy, and racism, I feel like company would be probably the easiest thing to solve. And we don't trust people to do that. We definitely shouldn't trust them to have a clear-eyed mind, a non-emotional take toward race.
I agree. But the question becomes, you and I have a microphone in front of us. How do you think we should respond to this problem? Should we try to pull people out of it? Or should we do the level of analysis down in well, I know you see the problem this way, and so let's talk about why this really is a race problem.
I think that this is a big credit to the 1,700 people tuning in right now on YouTube and everybody across all platforms. Thank you guys, because you guys being here are part of the people that at least want to hear level heads. There's a lot of people right now that, to Tom's point, are going to their side. They just want to stoke up fires.
Right.
I literally, and this is one of the most disgusting tweets I've seen, somebody said Charlie Kirk died of a fentanyl overdose. I'm doing it right, MAGA. And at that point, a lot of people were like, how dare you say that this is terrible and da-da-da-da-da and all these other things. But it's directionally just shows you kind of it puts a mirror up to the crowd. And I think instead of us trying to one up the other person, because like Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high. People hate that saying now. If you go low, I'm gonna go lower. I'm gonna be petty. I'm gonna get you back. I'm gonna go tit for tat. And this tit for tat is what is leading us to this moment. Somebody needs to be the bigger person. I didn't want to talk about, I don't want to bring race into this. I don't want to do all these things. I want to talk about some other stuff. I got a bunch of TikToks I want to laugh at, but this is a big moment and we have to talk about it. So I'm going to talk about it now, but I just want everybody to know that Kaizen was very right, that when we point fingers, we're pointing forward back at us. But I just want y'all to know it didn't start today. Charlie Kirk is not the first person to die over what he said. And there's plenty of other people.
Now, let's push that one step farther. So let's say that, and I don't know that this is your take, but it sounded like it to me, that there's a ton of lack of empathy for other people. And now I'm reaching, but I have mentally mapped you that you think at least part of the lack of empathy is due to race. And so let's say that all of that's true.
No, part of the lack of empathy for Charlie Kirk is due to race.
No. The part of lack of empathy for somebody like George Floyd or Trayvon Martin is
Malcolm
because
X, Martin Luther King,
is because of race. And so therefore, now that I don't know exactly what words you would use, but the people that are upset by the assassination of Charlie Kirk, that it's like, well, if you guys now are expecting other people to have empathy for him, presumably because it's like your guy, which I think you would read as he looks like you, aka he is white, then sorry, welcome to the fucking party, man. Nobody's gonna have empathy for you.
Now you have been the victim of a misjustice on somebody in your clique, and you feel a type of way.
Yes.
Welcome to the party. Take a
cool. So now I cannot believe that I keep finding myself saying this. This is where I'm like, we all need Jesus. And I don't believe in Jesus.
We got him, guys. Chat, we got him.
So
we got him. Let's pray right now. Look,
as a symbol of somebody who's like, I get it. I have been aggrieved. I get it. You have been aggrieved. But to lean into that is only going to accelerate the grievance. And so I am going to offer empathy to the people for whom I might not immediately want to offer empathy. And going back to, I think you directly asked the question about empathy earlier. It's like, yeah, that's the right play. Like there's a reason that Homeboy's teachings have lasted for 2,000 years. There's a reason that me as I don't like atheist because I think it's got so much baggage, but as somebody who takes just a pure materialistic view of the universe, that even I'm like, well, you need an ideology. That one's not so bad. And I want to be clear about what it is that I believe about the Christian ideology, even though I don't believe it literally, that I think is so useful. It's that each life is, call it divine. And that way we take the level of analysis down to the individual. Because if you can get everybody to say these people deserve empathy, it is a sidestep. If I can't get people to intellectually embrace that, hey, don't trust yourself so much. If I just am never going to be able to get people to like understand that, okay, cool. Then at least you can go, every human is divine. And so even if you think that they are bad, wrong, whatever, don't shoot them. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
yes.
At least we got that far.
I felt that way since 1960 when
before you were born. That's very impressive.
Medgar,
although you are older than people think, Drew.
Medgar Evans got shot in his driveway in front of his wife and kids.
Oof. Jesus Christ.
So everybody look up Medgar Evans. That's everybody's homework for tonight. All right. I would like to move on. I feel like
let's do it. Unless
chat.
Chat feels incomplete. Mason.
No, I mean there's just like a little bit of response back to stuff, but no like major questions or debates or anything like that.
All right, let's go.
Okay, let's stoke the fire even more. This was a very interesting. I'm gonna set the table on this. This was a community submission. Everybody, please check out our Discord. We reworked it a little bit to try to incorporate more of it during the show. So check out General, and there's also like Tom Bilyeu Show links. Please give us a little paragraph and then the video. I love you guys, but I can't watch 15-minute videos live on stream. That's terrible TV.
Fair.
But somebody from chat has let this. The Supreme Court in BC and Canada has just given the Haida Nation sovereignty over the Haida Gwaii, which is the islands, kind of like the islands off of BC, British Columbia. This is the first land reassignment, I feel like is a good word to call it.
Yeah.
They would have sovereignty. They'll be able to set laws. And this island itself isn't necessarily our Aboriginal. There's Canadian natives there. There's other races, other people there. This is the first kind of land ownership switch that we have seen from a federal government so far. I know that this is like a weird proclamation, but just on paper, it seems like directionally, this seems like suicidal empathy to me. It's the right thing to do on paper.
No, it's not.
But like, I'm saying like it's the giving your kid a ice cream before bed because you love them and everybody feels good. But when you don't brush your teeth and you wake up with a cavity, you're going to have to deal with it. It's going to be a bigger cost like tomorrow morning.
Yeah. I mean, okay. This is what happens when people forget how hard life is, that you do have enemies knocking at the gate, and that becoming a country, the whole point of that was to build stable borders so you could protect yourself from invasions. That we are from a long line of murderers, conquerors, and we are in a very narrow window where there has been called 70 or 80 years of stability and peace and international cooperation. And so we have confused that with it being the law of the land. The reality is humans are capable of a level of savagery that people have just completely forgotten. So because of that, multiple generations of people have been raised to feel guilty for winning. And that is going to play out over in the fullness of time in an extraordinarily terrible way, because borders are not static. And if you look at border movements, even over the last 150 years, it's wild. So if people think that we are in some end of history and humans are now just completely loving and everybody's going to respect borders, I will remind you that you've got Russia that is slowly recapturing the USSR. You've got Israel that you're going to have a hard time convincing me isn't I think we could do with a little more land. So, I think people are out of their minds to think that humans have somehow shed all of that bloodlust. So if you're going to say, oh, God, geez, we feel bad and we're going to give some of this land back, you have now weakened your own authority to have any claim on any of that land, because now people are going to be like, well, hold on a second. Why do you get to keep Toronto? Why do you get to keep Montreal? Fuck you. You just admitted by giving us back this island that you had no right to take it in the first place. This is ridiculous. You're confining us to this tiny little space. It's listen, be Canada. Make Canada amazing. Make it as good for your population as you can possibly make it. You won. And if you go back, there's this whole vision of the noble natives that were there. Bro, everybody everywhere has been killing everybody else for as long as we can imagine. Neanderthals don't exist anymore because we killed them. So it's are we going to, for real, are we going to go, hey, Drew, you have 4.2% Neanderthal in you, where the average is 4%. So we're going to give some land back to you because you're slightly more Neanderthal and we feel guilty for all the things that happened to you, 6 million years ago. Are we? At some point, we have to admit, this is stupid. And when you play out the game theory of it, the countries that think this is full retard are going to go, oh, cool. I'm glad you guys are falling apart from the inside. I'm glad you no longer believe in yourself. This is exactly what I felt when I was in Italy. It's if you guys have not heard the song from Janet Jackson, I know he used to do nice things for you, but what has he done for you lately? I felt like that in Italy. You used to do cool shit, but what cool shit have you done lately? When Rome lost belief in itself, it fucking fell apart. When you derange your economy, when you open your borders, when you no longer believe that you should be the most dominant force around, the person who is dominant comes and kicks your ass, and you splinter into a whole bunch of tiny little pieces. And in a history book, that all sounds nice and easy until you remember there's a whole lot of raping and killing as that stuff is broken into pieces. And people somehow think that we don't do that anymore. I would like to remind people, Italy is younger than America.
Oh, shoot, for real?
Yes. Italy is younger than America because when that fucking empire fell, they scattered into a gazillion pieces, fucking warring tribes, lunacy for God knows how long. When you go and see Pompeii and you're wait, they had heated floors in Pompeii.
Oh, for real?
Yes. Thousands of years ago.
Boys
and girls, this shit has consequences.
That's wild.
When you stop believing in yourself, you stop innovating, you go into dark ages, and people think that that's not going to happen anymore. I'm telling you, be confident, please. Figure out, have a national identity that is wonderful and loving and draws people together and is yes, we whoop that ass. Listen, I know the truth. Russia is a big part of the reason that we won World War II. But is that the fucking story to tell? No. The story to tell is America is a bunch of gangsters and we fucking won this. And when I hear a bunch of dumb shit about how America didn't win World War II, what the fuck are you talking about? We dropped 2 very big bombs on Japan. And I'm not saying that that was morally justified, but I am saying that it brought that shit to an end. So after Europe ended, we still were in a war. I think people forget that. So listen, this is a lot of nonsense. People need to understand countries exist for a reason. You want your country to exist. You do not want your country to fall apart. You do not want your country to be invaded. And countries always fall apart from the inside when you start giving your land away. However empathetically you might be doing it, it is lunacy. So anyway, this is just going to continue to escalate.
Yeah. Gad said, I think he was super like, yeah, cool, but you're about 300, 400 years too late. Like, I just feel like it's like,
or more.
Who are we talking about?
And also, like, again, coming back to where do you stop?
Yeah.
Like, there's Drew. If we started doing that en masse, like if we gave it back to Native Americans, how long do you think it would be before they start infighting about, well, what tribe, who should get more, where were we really, our ancestors had this rock. And if you don't think people will fight over rocks, I would like to point you to the Middle East, where Israel and Palestine are fighting over fucking rocks. If you want to know how hard people will go in the paint for some symbolic shit, go ahead and bomb the Al-Aqsa Mosque. I'm not quite saying that right, but you get the idea. Yeah. Like, this is one of those ultra sacred things. People would lose their ever-loving minds. So, yeah, people are always going to be fighting over this shit.
I thought you were talking about the diamond trade at first when you said fighting over rocks.
Oh, no. That's fighting over money.
All right, taking it down to the economy, since we've been talking about it. The jobs report came in. So this is the weekly estimate of unemployment benefits going out. Economists forecasted 253,000, but claims jumped up to 263. This is the largest jump in 7 years, I want to say, or 7 months, excuse me. I don't want to say that this is damning and this means the economy is on fire, but add that to the 900,000 revision, add that to the S&P being negative if you take out 6 companies, and Oracle has to be a 7th now after their crazy day yesterday. $83 billion in one day, the single biggest gain.
Bro.
He made $83 billion and then told his son go buy HBO. We're going to talk about that next. Crazy. But with the economy seeming like it's on its last legs, is this job report kind of moved the needle for you?
So it certainly hasn't changed my vision of what the economy is. I have been saying for quite some time that I think that the economy is really in trouble. You want to talk about things I hate being right about. I hate being right about the fact that I've been saying for a while that we're going to break violent in America. And hey, here we are breaking violent in America. Look at that. And how many people said that Tom's overreacting? Like, oh my God, like he's just doing this for drama. No, when you look at the patterns of history, things start to make a lot of sense. When you are grounded in, you're having a biological experience. There are knowable things about the physics of the way human mind works. There's knowable things about the physics of economies. It's like, you're never going to get it 100% right, but damn, you can be directionally correct. And I'm telling you, from a directional correctness, the economy is in trouble. How do I know? Because any economy with this debt to GDP ratio is in a bad place. And despite the fact that some people will try to tell you it's a nothing burger, it is a one-way street to death and despair from an economy standpoint. Mm-hmm. So you either back out of that debt to GDP problem, or you accept that over some unfortunately unknown period of time, 5 years, 50 years, 100 years, I don't know, but over some period of time that unfortunately isn't hundreds of years, you're going to implode. That's not a maybe. This is mathematical certainty. It's mathematical certainty. And humans are extraordinarily bad at looking at something where the math is simply the following. If you are in a submarine and you are at the bottom of the Marianas Trench and you only have 4 hours of oxygen and the human body can only go, whatever the record is, 17 minutes, 21 minutes without oxygen, and that's for somebody who's hyper-trained. When you get to 4.5 hours, everyone's dead. Like, that's the physics of the situation. The economy is the same. You cannot just keep stacking debt. Why? Because to pay that debt off, you will have to print money. When you print money, you devalue your currency. When you hit a certain point of devaluing your currency, nobody will invest in you anymore. When you can't get investments anymore, you stop growing. Those are the physics of money. Mm-hmm. People want to somehow believe that we are immune to the physics of money. We are not. I will remind everybody, and I know I say this guy's name a lot, but Ray Dalio built the largest hedge fund in the world simply by recognizing better than anybody else exactly where a given country was at any one time in the big debt cycle. So Nothing about this job report changes my mind about where the economy is, because the economy is moving through the 6 phases of the debt cycle. This is inevitable. So it merely makes it apparent that we are going to have to lower rates, that the Fed will no longer have a cover story to not lower rates. Yeah. So they are going to lower rates. And the problem is, as Lynn Alden so aptly pointed out, it won't solve the problem because you're now in fiscal dominance. As a reminder, fiscal dominance simply means government spending. I wish people weren't so weird about words, because fiscal has sort of loosely come to mean monetary policy. That's not the definition of the word. Fiscal means government spending. So when somebody says fiscal dominance, they just mean that the government is spending so much money that that's all that matters. Literally, that's all that matters. So they can try to lower the interest rate all they want. It's not going to matter because the economy is already in a tremendous amount of trouble. And as they lower it, that's going to cause inflation. And if they try to raise the rate, it's not going to matter because the government is not going to stop deficit spending. And so now you start driving the interest rates so high for the government that it just becomes untenable. So they can't do that either. And so that's called having no more tools. And so the only thing that is left is a beautiful deleveraging, but nobody will do that because it asks everybody to suffer pain. So instead, what people will do is whatever gets them elected, which is, guess what? Promise free shit. And what's the only thing that's a terrible fucking idea? Promising free shit. And so here we are.
The promise of free shit. Is a Fed rate going to save us?
No, the Fed rate can't save you.
No, so like there's no, I understand what AI is is the silver bullet, but until we figure.
AI isn't the silver bullet. And here's the very dark news. Yeah. I don't think AI is going to, let's say that AI, it's the miracle cure of productivity. That won't help you because it will be at the expense of people not having jobs.
Yeah.
So now let's say even that you're able to get a ton of money. Right now, your economy is under $5 trillion. The amount that it would take to give everyone, I think like $16,000, which is poverty wages, is $5 trillion. Now, if the bots can grow the economy faster than that, and let's say that we get to $6 or $7 trillion, what are you going to give people, like $18,000? Like it's still like people do not understand the math doesn't math.
Yeah.
So, and not only that, let's say that you gave everybody that amount of money and it was enough to keep everybody eating. People will still mouse utopia and they will freak out. So we have a real problem to face, which is we have an upcoming problem and not enough people are thinking about it. So we haven't yet come up with the solutions that we need to come up with. The only solution that I have come up with is I need everybody to focus on themselves and those that they love. So and I hope that that means that we save society that way. And this comes back to, hey, Jesus, thanks for reminding us everybody has a spark of divinity. So it's okay to think about the individual. So, hey, everybody, think about mastering where to put your money. Don't pretend the economy isn't what it is. Don't want for free things. Figure out how the game works. It is rigged, but it's rigged in a knowable way. And so now go do the things that you would need to do. One, distrust yourself. Don't assume that you read the situation perfectly correct. So I admire Michael Saylor's testicle fortitude. He has the largest nuts I've ever seen in my life. And yet I encourage people, don't do that. You're not prepared for that. I'm not even sure he's prepared for that. But for sure as shit, the average person is not prepared for that. So go broad, but you've got to own assets and you've got to be in something that approximates an all-weather fund. I've done videos on this, so if you want all the specifics, just go watch the videos, the deep dives, if you watch the last 3 deep dives, I think you'll get all that you need from what you should be doing with your money perspective.
Man, that was a mic drop. I got one more community submission, and then we got some reactions that are good. You guys are going to love these. This is from Jonathan Bai, I think his last name, B's YouTube. He's talking about why philosophy is the last subject worth studying. We were just talking about how AI is everybody's golden bullet.
I would have disagreed with him 5 years ago, but I might agree now.
Yeah, I think he nails the plane on this one. I want your opinion.
You need to hold certain propositions. I make fun of the Stoics a lot, but here I actually think their model of the human soul can be helpful. where they treat the human soul as a series of rational propositions, and that the point of Stoic philosophy is to correct the propositions that are wrong, right? So, for example, you might think pain is an evil. Pain is actually not an evil. We don't have to go into all of that. But what I'm trying to say here is that philosophy, at least part of what philosophy addresses, are these foundational claims you need to make a decision on and that you need to hold in order to live a good life. And it's not just instrumental knowledge, okay? And so those are the two reasons why I think philosophy has become more important in the age of AI.
Hold on. There's something there that I really want to get into, and this is for anybody that's trying to understand me across time. I learned in a non-philosophical way, but I learned really early in my life that I was the problem. And I was in my 20s. Dude, I would come home from work and I couldn't afford to furnish my apartment, and I would lay on the floor. And I remember so vividly the feeling of the synthetic fibers of the cheap ass carpet that was in my apartment, like leaving imprints on my face. Yeah. And I would just lay there and be like, what am I doing with my life? And at the time, because this is the late 90s. So at the time, the idea of brain plasticity, it was just being debated. Nobody knew if it was true. And I remember thinking, I wouldn't have had the right words at the time, but I'll say it in my language now. I remember the time thinking, whenever I allow myself to believe that I could get better, I feel expansive. Again, that wasn't the word I would have had in my head, but I liked the way that I felt.
It poured into you, didn't it?
Yeah, and it literally made me do that with my body. Like, ooh, like, wait a second. Every time that I thought that I'd been dealt a hand of cards and that I could never get better, it really was crushing to me. And I decided, because I liked the way that it made me feel, that I was going to act as if it were true. I was going to act as if I could get better. And by acting as if I could get better, in the moment, it made me feel better. And I was doing it just because it had a drug-like quality. I don't need to say more words. My entire life philosophy is built around the fact that by changing what I thought, it improved my life from a neurochemical standpoint. And that's when I realized, wait, I can manipulate my own neurochemistry by what I think. And I was like, holy shit. Now, my life was not then like some one-way street, though I will often retell it as if it were. There were still a whole bunch of ups and downs after that. But that realization is what I've now crystallized into what I call the only belief that matters. The only belief that matters is that if you put time and energy into getting better at something, you will actually get better. Now, the bad news is, for maybe 15 years, that was the guiding principle of my life. It governed every interaction that I had with every human being that I encountered. And I remember I used to get clowned on a lot because I would spend so much time like trying to teach people entrepreneurship. This is long before there were cameras in my face. I would spend so much time trying to teach people entrepreneurship, and friends, I'll be generous and just say that, friends would mock me and say, you know that most people can't change, right? That was so anathema to what I needed to believe about myself that I just refused to embrace that. Now, I don't believe that people are incapable of change, but I believe the vast majority of humans are functionally incapable. They just won't do the things. Whether that's because they got a bad roll of the dice on discipline or desire or whatever, I don't know. But most adults won't change, but they can. And so what he's getting at here is a very philosophical understanding of what I sort of had to cobble my way through, which is, hold on a second. The things that I choose to believe will govern what I see in the world and how I act. Now, ultimately, the only thing that matters is how you act, but you're going to act in accordance with what you believe. And this is why I'm like always trying to get people to understand your beliefs are a choice. Okay, I chose to believe that I could get better at something. The choosing to believe that, regardless of what the outside world was telling me, because it was unclear, by choosing to believe that, I started taking the right actions for somebody to get better. So your beliefs are a choice. Choose wisely. Make sure that you're choosing things that actually move you towards your goals. And so the reason I think it's interesting that he's saying that philosophy might be the last thing left standing is specifically the reason I say you're having a biological experience. Philosophy was all these guys trying to make contact with reality and say, oh, wait, there are principles here, And if I understand these principles, if I can articulate these principles, then I can act in accordance with those principles that allow me to navigate the world well. This is why religion is so powerful and why it matters so much. If you have a religion that's destructive, well, then you're going to do destructive things. If you have a religion that's uplifting, it's optimistic, and by the way, reinterpreted over and over and over as people try to put that religion to use in the real world, and they're like, uh-oh, like that thing I should probably ignore a little bit. I'm going to stop stoning gay people to death. That's not working out so well. So you refine until you find that path where it's like, when I believe like this, when I act like this, my life gets better. And so getting people to understand that it's all happening between your ears. It is all happening between your ears. And once you master that game, then okay. And what I found was phase 1 of my life as a public intellectual was all about mindset. Just trying to get people to understand this is happening between your ears. Here are the things that you should believe. Here are the values that you should have, and it will make your life better. Then the rest of my life became, okay, hold on a second. Like now I'm just death looping on this, and it's becoming spiritual entertainment. Even though it's super powerful and it's very real, people aren't trying to actually move forward in their life. So then COVID made me realize, wait, I need to point this at real things. It is now hyper consequential to people that if you're not acting in a way that's useful, you're going to get eaten alive. And so I think people are always going to be confused as to like why for me, this has been the world's most consistent arc of my life. But many people are confused as to why I started talking about politics and world affairs and economics and all that. And I'm just saying the whole point of philosophy is to have a tangible set of beliefs that manifest in making your life better across every dimension. I'm just now talking about the every dimension instead of constantly looping on believe this.
You cooking right now, Tom. I love that. Help me rationalize this next thing then, because I feel like right now we're at a crucial cross point where there are some studies that are saying AI is lowering the cognitive function of a lot of young people, a lot of people where now that I have an all-knowing, all-right bot, I don't need to think, I don't need to do those things. So where would you draw that line, or how would you order of operations? I need to go inward and decide what's going on between my brain versus now I can go on AI and figure out how to work some things out. How would you navigate those two things? Where should people start and then pivot to the other thing?
So if you're using AI as a way to simply get the answer and regurgitate the answer, you're in trouble. If you're trying to get an answer fast so that you can build a worldview that you could use, like right now, for instance, I use AI like a fiend to write my deep dives. I'd never be able to write them that fast because of all the fact checking that I have to do, all the stats that I have to look up, all that stuff. AI has just made that unbelievably easy. But if I simply had it output an idea and then I just read the idea that it output, then I wouldn't be getting smarter. But the reason that people can talk to me about the things that I've written in the deep dives is my goal in the deep dive is to come to understand the topic. So if you're trying to understand the topic from cause and effect, and you're using AI to map cause and effect, and you're bringing in, okay, I have a worldview and I encounter a fact that, like that doesn't match my worldview. Then it's like, okay, this is the looking up at the stars versus the constellations. So you look up at the stars, it's really just a bunch of dots of light in the sky. They don't have groupings. Those groupings are totally fake. But by applying groupings to them, I'm able to navigate. So I'm saying that's a worldview. Your worldview isn't necessarily accurate, but it's useful. So when you encounter something that reminds you, your worldview isn't necessarily accurate. So does this piece of information, is it real? If it's real and it doesn't match my worldview, it's an opportunity to get a more accurate and therefore more useful worldview. But most people, they don't want that. So they either just want to regurgitate a fact, in which case it's just making them dumber because they couldn't tell you what that fact meant, how it fits into cause and effect, nothing. Or people will go, ooh, that's inconvenient, and they'll let it glance off their worldview. What I'm saying is at that moment, you need to blow your worldview apart back into stars and say, there really are no patterns. I've just applied these patterns to something to navigate better, but my goal is to navigate better. Then this piece of information I either have to discover is false, or I have to figure out where it fits in my worldview so I can update my map of how the world works and now be a little bit smarter. And so I feel like the rate at which I'm updating my navigational map for living a human life well has accelerated dramatically because of AI, dramatically. So I'm like, I get it. I see the mistake that people are making, which is just give me thing I regurgitate with no sense of trying to map to cause and effect, no willingness to blow apart my worldview, only to reconstitute it with a better understanding of this leads to this, leads to this. But if you use AI to constantly update your map of cause and effect. Ooh, buddy, it's incredible. So I have certainly, and listen, in any one moment you might be winning financially only to lose later. So I want people to be very clear about that. But I have, in writing all of the content over the last year that I've written about investing, I've now made more money as an investor. So I'm like, holy shit. So it's like, good luck convincing me that the things that I'm saying aren't true, because they're working right now. Now, the economy could change, or I could realize that I have like a surface view that works in certain circumstances, but won't work in others. And so it is all too clear to me that I might get hit by something that I don't see coming. But I'm constantly trying to make my thinking better and better and better and better and better. But it's actually manifesting in tangible dollars and cents in my bank account. So I'm like, whoa. So that's where I'm like, this stuff matters. And if you can understand things, it will have real consequences in your life.
Maxwell Calkin brought up a point. He says, it's better that we get used to the new world order. What is a human's role in a world where we don't need to think in that way? He said previously that you were wrong in thinking humans don't need to do that anymore. Hypothetically speaking, you have this saying, go where the hockey puck is headed, not where it is.
Yep.
So to Maxwell's point, should humans just now say, okay, instead of trying to get deep and inward and think about philosophy, I need to figure out what the economy looks like where humans are not the smartest things anymore. And
for sure. Like that's going to be a big part of how you think about investing. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. But saying that humans don't need to think anymore, I think that would be a mistake.
Got it.
So part of this is reminding yourself, what's the real goal? I would say the real goal of life is fulfillment, and that an important part of that is earning your own respect. And so then it's like, well, why does Tom believe that? Because all those two things is neurochemical states. So all I'm really saying is there are neurochemical states that are positive, meaning they won't make you hate your life. In fact, they'll make you love your life, but they can survive things like grief. And so you want to be resilient. So you need a neurochemical cocktail that you can call on constantly, that even in the worst of times, you can be like, okay, wait, I still have that. Mm-hmm. So in my darkest hours, when I've really been like, what I'm going through right now feels like hell, in those moments, the thing that I come back to all the time is you're the kind of person that will face the hardest things in your life to earn your own respect. You will always be willing to admit when you're wrong about something. You will get better, and you will judge yourself based on whether you're doing the things you need to do to improve. Cool. Not that I achieve my goals, because I'm not always going to be able to do that. But it's like, that's a value system. That's self-manipulation designed to get me to feel good about myself so that I can keep moving forward. And so it's like, oh, I get it. This is all a game of neurochemical manipulation. This is why when somebody's life breaks down, they start doing drugs, because they just want to manipulate their neurochemistry. They don't want to feel the way that they feel. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, I need something to change this. So when somebody is looking into the future and they're seeing, okay, AI is coming, what I'm trying to get them to hear is, you're having a biological experience. So understand, you may not be able to win against AI, but you can certainly be neuroprotective. You can protect your self-image. You can protect your neurochemical states so that you feel optimistic and hopeful. Mm-hmm. So for instance, let's say that AI just completely obliterates us on every dimension, but we can't get any better. There's no Neuralink. There's no way for us to improve, explore the cosmos. For whatever reason, even building virtual worlds, which is my bet, that we can go explore and do incredible things there and find meaning and purpose in those pursuits. Because I'm assuming a world where it's just abundance and we don't need any material goods anymore. Let's say that all those doors get shut. I've already got a mental map for what I would do. Then I would be like, oh, then I'm going to be the most human ever. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to embrace, this is just about being human. Let the AI run off and do all the crazy calculations and all that. What I'm going to do is be over here in human connection and love and creation and beautification, all that stuff, right? So it's like, once you understand what you're really trying to do, which is adjust your own neurochemistry, it becomes a lot easier to move wisely.
Ipso facto, man. I love that.
We've got a few super chats.
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
Oh,
yeah. Super chat.
First up, we've got another $100 one from RJ Johnson.
That was nice.
Thank you, Tom, for promoting philosophy. Recall, I went back to school at 65 to get a PhD in philosophy.
Right.
at Claremont Graduate University. Maybe it's time to dust off the book I gave away at our group meeting. It's the belief system that can achieve highest consciousness.
I love that. RJ, shout out to RJ. Yeah, look, you're never too old. First of all, start with that belief. I even hate all the rhetoric around that it's weird that somebody that late in life would do that. Why? A thought experiment that's always been extremely useful to me is, what if everything before this exact moment is just context that you as a character in a simulation had to be given to move forward?
Ooh, that's
so dude, that always helps me, because then it releases me from like the emotional baggage of all that. And it's like, okay, now it's just about moving forward. So it doesn't matter that I'm almost 50, whatever. What do I want to do? What's going to lead me down a path that I find interesting? So always try to make your future bigger than your past.
No, that's really true, because that happened to me and my parents. I was talking to them. I was like stressing, like, Mom, I'm in LA. Things are crazy, da-da-da. And she was like, well, you'll figure it out. It happens. And I was like, when did you like figure it out? Because my mom has always been a nurse. I know her as a nurse, but my sister, my brother, everybody. So to me, it's like, oh, she just came to America. She had to do a little couple side hustle things, jumped into being a nurse, and she's just been living good the whole life. She's like, yeah, I didn't become a nurse. I was like 33. I'm like, wait, what? Like, you struggled in your 20s? Like, you have a house and you have these things. And it's like, we kind of project onto our boomer and older parents that like, oh, they just came out and figured it out at 17 and it was just all sunshine and rainbows. It's like, everybody figured it out. But at the same time, we look at the last 10 years and think that's been their only time. We forget about the thing leading up to that. So I like that point, that this could all just be context to the next 20, 25 years of your life, of you being this new thing. And that's what people know you for, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure. Well said.
From It's All Weird, we need diversity of thought in college and tech. Right now, you will not progress in either if you even appear right-ish. I'm high-level tech. Coworkers and leaders brag about stopping non-elite degrees and right-leaning workers.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there is a wicked political divide, and I have deep empathy for anybody that is caught up in that in your career or whatever. And it does seem like certain careers within the US for sure draw different personality types. Personality types are hyper predictive of whether you will be on the left or the right. And so if you're in a career, for instance, like nursing, which tends to draw people that are deeply empathetic people tend to be more on the left. The left people tend to have more of those beliefs. And so now if you're right leaning, they're probably not going to love that. And so I get it. That sucks. Not a fun time, but it is the way the world is. And I would encourage you not to succumb to being bitter about it and just say, okay, this is where we are. And so now what?
Two more. First up from Dan Clark. Kirk wasn't a politician or a criminal. I don't agree with everything he said and could give a shit about race. This is about a citizen exercising his First Amendment right and being killed over it. This breaches social norm.
Agreed. I think this is why this one's sitting so heavily with people. It's like, wait on, there's something off about it. And that off thing is, this is just a guy. He's not a politician. He's obviously wildly politically influential. I don't want to downplay that. But this is also how I feel about people that want to kill Elon Musk. It's like, Jesus. When somebody disagrees with you, and you have the impulse to kill them, that is a weakness in you. So yeah, we all have to be careful of that.
And lastly, from Vitaly Dvorkin, the divide is not race, but empathy. The left feels that the right is not empathetic enough for the history of how black people were treated in America. The right sounds callous when they dismiss the past in that respect.
Yeah, I get that. If you have a left-leaning frame of reference, the right is going to sound overly dead inside, basically. And if you're on the right, the left is going to sound like a bunch of lunatics. So you have to figure out what is the cause and effect and how do we move forward? That's it. And if people can't get into cause and effect, then all hope is lost. Everybody's in their fields. Everybody's going to be violent towards each other in a populist moment, which is where we are. And unfortunately, that's what history says is going to happen. So now the question is, can we get out of it? We'll find out.
Stay tuned, folks. We'll find out.
We will indeed.
Okay, we got some updates in the chat. I see you guys. Yes, we talked about the killer being found. Tyler Robinson, 22 years old. People are saying he's a registered Republican.
And by the way, this is all he's a suspect, allegedly.
Suspect.
We don't know yet.
Reports are coming that his father turned him in. His father, friend or somebody like that, found out and turned him in.
That's rough.
What's your first reaction to that? Like being
That's heartbreaking. But if you believe that that's your son and they just assassinated somebody, it's like, yeah.
Sheesh.
Bro, that's so rough.
Ribsy said, who was saying he's a registered Republican? State Records said he's a registered Republican. I'm not saying that.
And so, listen, this will all come out in the fullness of time. We shall see. But people should be running a thought experiment of, okay, well, what if he is a registered Republican? And my hope is that this doesn't change the way that you see this moment, that the hope should be, in fact, in some ways it would be better if he was a Republican, because it will diffuse that energy of it being a team sport. But the team sport is the thing that I hope people are looking out for.
It's still going to be the left's fault regardless, though.
It's going to be a what?
It's going to be the left's fault regardless.
The left's fault.
It's going to be their fault. Depending if he was.
You think that'll be the right's message?
He could be a Republican Christian who just had a baby and was married. It will still be trans and left people's fault for radicalizing America.
That will be one take, Drew. I don't know that will be everybody's take.
I felt like the opinions are already set. As soon as that bullet hit him, it was
that's
like,
the thing
they
people
did
should be worried about.
Yeah,
for sure. For sure.
Bless you. Okay, I want to jump into some reactions right now. There's been a lot of news about this consolidation. We were just talking about it briefly earlier. The dogs got loose. Sorry, guys, if you guys are hearing barking in the background. But you've been waiting to hit that button, G. You've been waiting to incorporate that sound effect. David Ellison, the son of Oracle Larry Ellison, who's clearly balling right now, is the head of Skydance, who just recently acquired Paramount. They're preparing to make a bid for Warner Brothers. That would make them the largest conglomerate, bringing together HBO, Discovery, Showtime, CBS, TNT, a bunch of sports contracts, all under one umbrella. Some people are saying we don't need more consolidation in the media aspect. Some people think fresh tech money is what the media aspect needs. What's your initial reaction to this?
Because of what's going to happen with AI, I'm not worried about consolidation on this at all. There are going to be plenty of outlets and opportunities for young creatives to get the things that they want to make seen. We were just talking about on Wednesday the fact that you're going to see the first AI-generated animated film in 2026. They're expecting to get it done in 9 months for $30 million versus the normal 3+ years for like $150 million. So I think this is a golden age to be an independent creator because budgets are just going to be dropping. People are going to be taking more risks. So the reason that it gets bad when you see that kind of consolidation is now there's like a gatekeeper, and if you're iced out there, then you're just never going to make anything. We just don't live in that time. We live in a time now where there's like no gatekeepers essentially on anything. So not worried about it in the slightest. I'm more worried about them going out of business. So that's the thing that like scares me. So to stay alive, they may need to consolidate right about now.
Yeah, I think Paramount can sense the blood in the water, because I know Warner Brothers recently did the joint streaming offerings with Disney. So they've been looking for a dance partner. The streaming business has not been kind to Warner, even though they're winning the movie theater awards this year, because Warner's on a tear. They were F1, they were Sinners,
so much
they were
IP.
Superman.
It's crazy.
Yeah, they're definitely number one in the box office right now, but we'll see. All right, this clip was like ridiculous, and I think it's appropriate on Borderlands Day. Shout out to all my Borderlands gamers. I used to love Borderlands 2. I don't think I'm playing 4 now.
Why not? Out of curiosity.
I'm a story person. I love story games. I like playing one player mode and beating it. Even though Borderlands was like co-op, you can kind of jump in and jump out. I think now video games are just perpetual entertainment. It takes too long. Like, it's no longer like I can't turn off my lights and watch. So
you want to play a movie?
Yeah,
got
exactly.
it. Okay,
exactly.
Word.
Yeah,
understood.
And
this is crazy. By the way, this clip.
Is this the future of gaming, or is it just ridiculous? So I'll see your opinion on this.
Yeah, so
machines in his garage that make video games feel like reality. First up, he builds a realistic machine gun that doesn't just look real, it feels real. It registers in the game, complete with smoke effects and force feedback. You can literally feel the kick as you fire, making zombie shooting games feel like you're right in the middle of the action.
So do I think that this is the future of gaming? Absolutely not. But is this, it's going to be too expensive, too niche for the way that it will work within the game. But it'll be fun for like the 4D kind of stuff, where we're looking at one now where you got somebody driving a car and the station that you're in literally spins around. And so it'll be fun as a novelty, but these things don't tend to catch on. It's the same reason that the vast majority of video games now are played on a phone. That breaks my heart. But it's just the thing you always have in your hand. And so if you're standing in line at the grocery store, you can play the game. If you're waiting in the house for your parents, or you're not supposed to be playing, but it's easy to tell if you're at the PC or, in front of a big TV, but you can probably sneak into the bathroom and play on your phone. So convenience, simplicity, unfortunately, is the thing that has always proven that it wins over everything. I discovered that, or not discovered it, but came face to face with that brutal reality with comics. Yeah. That we printed a comic book. The distributor was over the moon. He was like, oh my God, you guys have had anomalous success. He's like, this is incredible. And I'm looking at the numbers going, wait, this is success? I was like, there's no money in this. So that's when I started studying Japan and what they were doing and how they were winning. And that led me then also to Korea. And I was like, like Koreans have won. If anybody knows Webtoon, Webtoon is massive. Yeah. And it's massive because even though it is a way worse way to engage with the medium, it's the way that you always have in your pocket. Yeah. And so I forget who, Chase Jarvis maybe, that said the best camera is the one that you always have on you. He's a professional photographer. Yeah. And he was like, that's why the iPhone is going to win, because you just always have it.
Okay, but like thought experiment, sci-fi writer, let's kind of go there.
Yep.
As the cost of consoles are rising, they're now $800. We have Optimus robots declining, that those costs projected to decline. The first one will be $20,000. The 16th one will be $14,000. Would there be a convergence overlap that maybe it's not a full-on robot build, but when you buy this console, it comes with a chair that's haptic feedback, then you'll have gloves.
Too expensive, takes up too much space. So, I mean, look, there might be some like niche thing that people really get into with that, but as a game developer myself, the thing I'm always thinking is, how do I get onto the iPhone?
Yeah.
So I'm not thinking about like more extravagant, more like that'll be such a niche audience, and what you would have to charge for that, it's like people are already having a seizure that just like an average game is now pushing $80, $100 people are expecting in 2026. Mm-hmm. So it's like, no, people are not happy about the cost of gaming going up. More people are going to phones. Kids are now raised on gaming on phones. They're not raised to have the experience be more expensive, more lavish. They want simple, always on. That's going to be the future, unfortunately. So think of that as like, are there going to be a whole bunch of Six Flags everywhere? No, it has its place. Maybe you go there for a birthday, but this is not going to be the future. We're having a hard enough time getting people to do VR. So
very good point. That's a very good point. All right, jump through the next one. The number one indicator of relationship demise.
The ending to nearly all relationships. Literally every problem in relationships can be funneled down to this one thing. When people actually learn to change it, they fundamentally change the trajectory of their relationships. Like they will improve their relationships 1,000%. Do you want to know what that one thing is? Well, it's not money, like everybody says it is. It's not lack of sex. It's not difficulty with parenting and having different parenting styles. It's lack of accountability.
Lack of accountability. What do you think?
It's very interesting. Would I say that it's the number one problem? Probably not, but would it be something that would wildly exacerbate problems in a relationship? Yes, of course. I've always said one of the most important things in a relationship is a growth mindset. Now, a growth mindset has as sort of a default that you take accountability for everything in your life. So from that perspective, if you were going to integrate it with that, what you need is somebody who wants to get better. What you need is somebody who's not going to be stubborn about looking at, okay, what are the things that I could have done differently? But if you have that only on one side, like I would need to see way more of this woman's content to understand if this is like guys just need to accept that they're doing everything wrong. Or if this is like two people need to come together. We just got in an argument. Neither of us are innocent in that. What was my role? And you should be asking what was your role? And then we come back together, we share that, and then we can move forward. So Lisa and I talk about speaking in insecurities. You're just, okay, we just had a blow up. Why was I emotionally triggered? And so always looking at yourself, it is very powerful. So for sure, this is going to be one of the high level things that if you're not willing to take accountability, but I just want to make sure that she's not saying that basically when I blame you, that you accept the blame that you fucked this up. If she means each person needs to go, hold on, takes two to tango. I need to figure out what my role is. That's going to be very important.
I seen a quote that said, modern women want the authority of men, the perks of a woman, and the responsibility of a child. And that kind of hit me.
Because that feels real?
It feels like I've seen evidence of that. But again, internet's not real. Like, I've had 3 interactions with people that are like, oh yeah, I remember those, but I have 100 ones that I'm not even considering.
Right.
So I definitely don't think this is a general thing or more than 50%, nothing like that. But so here, like, accountability being even said in this context kind of resonated with me, that if it's that saying, it's me and you against the problem, not you did something, I did something type thing. Yeah. So is there something to it? And you just think that the growth mindset, like, this is to be, and growth mindset is one, like, it's still on the board, it's just not at the top.
Yeah, this is amazing, and I don't want to take anything
Got
away
it,
from that.
okay.
I just don't know what she means by it, so I'm hesitant to be like, yes.
Got it.
But accountability is huge. Accountability is one of the most important things you can do in your life, full stop, not just a relationship. Like, you need to be able to see, where did I go wrong here? Retain your own power, figure out, like, what was the problem from my perspective, where I can control it, not just constantly like pointing fingers at somebody else. Yeah. That's one of the most powerful things that you can do in your own life, full stop, regardless of relationship. But when I think about, like, what makes a relationship work, it is way more multifaceted than just taking accountability. But that's important. There's no doubt about that.
All right.
Really fast before we move on, because there was a super chat on gaming. So before we get too far from that, and it did meet the threshold, we should probably dive into that.
Calling bullshit on that last take.
Ooh.
In terms of my take?
I believe on the way that Drew mentioned.
Oh, she's calling bullshit on your retelling of what.
Oh, that's what we want about the accountability. Lisa, come down and argue with us. What's up? Like,
actually, she's here. So in fairness to Lisa, she very much is not like that. But there is a subset of people that are like that. There's no doubt about that, but there's a subset of people that will have any level of lunacy. So how rampant that is, I certainly haven't encountered that much in my life, but I see it in red pilly communities. So I don't know. I don't know how widespread that is, but I don't know if Lisa wants to come and box or.
We got beef.
So we've got 3 super chats. 2 of them are gaming related, though. Was there a specific one that you wanted to go into?
Jump into all of them.
Yeah. Give them all. There was a $20 one for sure that was about AI game engine or something.
Yeah. So can you look up Genie 3 AI DeepMind game engine? Have you seen this?
I have. I looked at it very quickly. It is basically you prompt a world, and then you have the whole world, and it's interactable. There's no doubt that you're going to get stuff like that because so much of physics is going to be pattern recognition. But I don't think we know yet if AI can truly come to understand physics. If it can truly come to understand physics, then you can just say, give it to me like the moon, reduce gravity by this much, whatever, and then it would be able to carry it out. You'll need that level of control. So this is super encouraging, thrilling. When I saw that, I was like, oh my God. But you're 5 years out from that being useful to a developer because of all the ability to control it that you're going to have to give me. What I don't think people understand about game development is how everything comes down to nuance, like just the weighting, like how much a gun kicks back matters more than the gun kicks back, right? So this will be able to get you sort of those rough things, but if you can't go in and control everything individually, every gun has to have a different kickback. I've got to be able to tweak those things a little bit. How fast a character runs matters. How much distance they cover with each stride. Like, these things are so consequential in a game and so difficult to nail. So you've got to be able to give people a ton of control. Now, Elon Musk, who's like at the forefront of doing this stuff with AI, has basically just completely conceded use Unreal Engine for the rendering and all that. He's like, AI right now is not going to do that. What AI is going to do is generate the assets. That is real. The game logic, probably not yet. Eventually, sure. But the game logic, not yet. The rendering engines, not yet.
What's the as a non-game developer, what does Unreal have that they're losing? Like, they understand how much a kickback of the guns are, or they give you the option to do, like, what's their secret sauce? Yeah.
So here is where, as you go down the game development path, what ends up happening to you is you realize, oh, I'm a god and I'm building a universe and I control everything from gravity, motion, frame rate. It's unreal. That's when I started game developing. That's when I was like, wait, we do live in a simulation, because you realize I am building you're trying to get lower and lower and lower and lower in the stack to set up a set of rules. So when people talk about, wait, there's something fishy about the universe, it is too specific. It's too like, if you nudge this one variable, like atoms can't stay together and they fly apart. And there's no way that just happened by accident. No, hard pass. And when you're just like a guy that lives your life, you don't really think about fine tuning the universe and what it means and all that. Then you go to build a video game. And you're like, wait a second. I've got to adjust all these variables. And you just find yourself constantly wanting to go lower, 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 until you're set rules there. This is why Minecraft is the single greatest video game that's ever been created. Because what Minecraft did was it's like when Einstein talks about, you've gotten to the truth of the universe when you find a really elegant, simple equation that explains everything. That's how Minecraft feels. It is a ridiculously simple set of rules that gives birth to this incredible complexity and surprise and all that. Oh my God, it's so cool. So anyway, when you're doing it, that's what Unreal Engine, not that, because I don't think they built Minecraft on Unreal Engine. So this just means rendering engines, physics engines, things like that, is it's going and saying, oh, I'm going to do all of that for you. So people don't think about the fact that when a beam of light hits a green blade of grass, that it scatters and then it reflects off something else. And so a rendering engine does all of that math. Physics engines allow you to have things like torque on a car. So a car doesn't just race forward, go left, go right. It's actually dealing with physics. So if it hits a rock, the wheels that hit the rock will bump up, but the other wheels won't. And if they bump up too far, then it flips your car, right? If you hit something that has too sheer of a face, then the car just stops. If it's ramped, then the car will jump over it. All of that kind of stuff is mathematical calculations that have to be handled at the level of physics. So game designers for the last, 30 years have been trying to create more and more of that inside of the game engine so that you, as the individual game designer, can just be use their physics engine. I don't want to have to create one from scratch. That sounds terrifyingly difficult. So, and it is, by the way. So they're just taking care of more and more and more. So what Elon is saying is, oh my God, I don't want to have to train the AI on all of that.
Yeah.
Create all the assets, import them into something that people have already spent 30 years making this thing extraordinary. Now, over enough time, sure, you can start learning all those laws of physics, and then the game engine will be cool, how do you want it? And you can be make it like it's on the moon. Give me real physics engines of F1 cars, and cool, you've got it. But that's not yet. That's going to take time.
Nice. I'll take responsibility for that. Fractal, next super chat.
Next up, from Tim Riley, Westworld showed us loops of choice inside illusions. If VR and GTA axioms become life itself, is the future a loop of synthetic pleasure? Neuralink gaming so real it erases the will to exit.
This is the one thing that I legitimately worry that I believe, and I think this belief isn't dangerous today. This belief is going to be dangerous in 7 years. So there's going to be endless footage of me talking about it. But yes, that is the future. And the reason I believe that aliens both exist and make no attempt to visit us is because once you become a sufficiently advanced civilization that could go tour the cosmos, you will have long before that been able to create virtual worlds that you can explore safely, that you can manipulate your own nervous system so that you really feel like you're in it, but you can remove all the risk and all the danger, and that people will ultimately just explore the virtual worlds Whereas the distances that you have to cross, like the thought of having to generate enough energy to bend time and space so that you could travel around the cosmos, like, dude, I'm not saying nobody will do it, just like Elon is trying to get us to Mars, but like, yeesh, that's going to be a lot harder than something that feels exactly the same, but now it's all virtual, so I don't have to amass that level of energy to manipulate it. I can just change the laws of physics. That's why I'm like, we could be in an nth generation simulation right now because our universe is so finely tuned. The only thing that makes me go, maybe not, is this is so pedestrian. So it's like this is not what I would create if I were making if I'm going to spend the time to build a universe, I'm not going to build this one. It's just too blasé. But I guess it's possible that this is the simulation designed to show evolution, and that and that it's playing it sped up. Because you can imagine our whole lives, all the history, Genghis Khan, dinosaurs, all of it. But it only lasts for like 30 seconds in the playback for them. Then you could be like, okay, maybe, and we just become something far more interesting as it plays out on a totally different time scale for them. But we'll see.
I was watching Speed's stream a couple of weeks ago, and he was playing AI GTA, where you can actually interact with the bots in the car, like the NPCs. It's a mod.
I need to know more about this.
It's like a mod. So it's like on a voice channel, you say something, there's a delay, and they respond back.
I need to know who coded that mod.
Oh, I thought we talked about it. Yeah,
no.
I gotta send that to you.
We gotta find this guy.
Yeah, no, it was literally crazy.
This is the future of gaming. 1,000%.
Yeah.
So we've tried to integrate that exact thing into Kaizen, and it's just goofy enough that it doesn't work yet. But it is going to work, bro. You are going to interact with characters that you build relationships with. Inside of Kaizen, we have the 7 mentor characters that flash forward 5 or 6 years. You're going to build relationships with those characters. They're going to remember you. You're going to have these things we call exotics. You're going to build a relationship. This is why I want to create a physical version of your exotic, so you can capture it inside the game, start building a relationship with it inside of the game, and then buy the physical manifestation of it. And so now you can be in your room late at night and talking to your exotic, and it will remember what you said to it last night in the room in game. And then out of the game, it will remember the things you guys have done together in game. Dude, that's going to be so fucking cool. So yeah, I'm all about it.
That's why I put Digimon.
Yeah, okie dokie, Sophie. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I do get very hyphy about this stuff.
All right, we got one more from John Cragness. I find it entertaining that Tom is explaining the results of a Christian life to a Christian. Tom, you read the Bible as behavioral guardrails for the individual to create a stable community and society. Drew can't combine the two.
I don't know what the last part means, but I will say to people, I used to be a devout Christian. So this is not a thing that I only observe as the person that I am now, with the worldview that I have now. I was really inside it for a while. So I'm certainly not a biblical scholar or anything like that, but my sister is, though, actually, believe it or not. She has a master's of divinity.
Wow.
So anyway, spent years inside of religion, went to church as a kid, and then had a period in my teens where I was devoutly religious, then found Taoism, became not really religiously Taoist, but I actually called myself a Taoist for years.
Nice.
So yeah, I've been inside looking out, and I've been outside looking in.
Okie dokie, Sophie. Interesting. I think this is interesting as a subject matter. Why no longer devout?
Why no longer devout? Religious or Taoist? Well, I don't.
Or, I mean, your, I guess, religious journey then, because to pivot to one and then now to.
I'm just always trying to map what is true. And so I believe that I believe Christianity, let's just stick to that one. I believe Christianity is like the OG self-help. I think that it is unbelievably useful. I think a lot of people's lives are made better by it. So you're not going to hear me disparage it. But when I try to map, do I really think it's literal? I don't think it's literal. Once you believe that it's allegory, metaphor, then it's okay, take the parts that work, ignore the parts that don't seem very useful. So I'm very glad that I'm in a country that is very much built on the back of a very deep-seated set of Christian values, though it's not expressly Christian values. But again, I'll just round it to every individual is divine, which is, I think, exactly why You open with all men are created equal in the Constitution, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These are all ideas that are born out of Christianity. So yeah, I dig that, even though I don't believe it's literal, but I believe that those things are super useful. So that's why I don't consider myself devout. That's like when you can really be inside of it. And I can't.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was the last one. There was a second part to that, or that was just...
That was it.
Yeah, okay.
All right, there we go.
Cool.
It was the Drew can't combine the two, I think.
Oh, yeah, that second part, the community and society, but I
think it's far better to say Drew doesn't combine the two than to say that
I don't even know what I'm not combining the two of, but say more, John. Look for it in the chat. Everybody says they love when Tom gets pumped up, so let's get Tom mad. All right. I love it. This is my favorite. We need to make this a segment, like making Tom mad.
Let's call it reacts. I don't want to always feel like people want us to be mad, but
all right, here we go.
Who's gonna pay for students to have free lunches? Me. What are you even talking about? My tax dollars fund war crimes in Yemen. So if a couple third graders get a free pizza on me, good, excellent. But
here's the bad news. I don't have beef with what this guy is saying. I don't think he understands the economy fully, but I understand what he's saying. He's like, listen, I want my tax dollars to go to something that I believe in. I agree with him. I don't want to be in a no tax environment. That's not my pitch at all. Mm-hmm. I love that America exists. I love that we have social programs. These are amazing. What I don't love is that we spend more than we take in and therefore steal from people. That I don't like. But the fact that this guy, I read him as somebody who is a voter who's saying, there are things I want my tax dollars to go to, and there are things I don't want my tax dollars to go to. And I think that my tax dollars are going to something stupid right now. The only thing where I'm like, okay, the only thing that you're not realizing is they're not going to stop doing that. And so if you add these other things onto this, you're going to exacerbate the problem. You're going to make it worse for everybody in the middle. But the emotional appeal that he's making, I like, which is, hey, I don't want to fund war crimes. I don't want to be in another country bombing people. Man, I want to take care of people here. And if he's saying, because I think he even says like kids in other places, if they get something good off my tax dollars, I'm here for it. Cool. We can disagree about that and say, right now, that's not the time to steal from the fucking poor and middle class and give to anybody, let alone other countries. That's wild. But again, what I take away from this guy is there are things I want my tax dollars going to, and there are things I don't want my tax dollars going to. Whether he and I agree on the specifics of that, I don't care. This is somebody who's just saying, that's how I feel. Mm-hmm. So when I watch, he does not make me angry. I worry endlessly about people who don't understand why people can't afford things. And he unfortunately doesn't understand why people can't afford things. So, I mean, on that, I'm sad, but I have no anger for this man who is clearly just trying to say some things yes, some things no.
Yeah. Do you think that we'll ever get to a political point where we're saying, America, where do you want your tax dollars to go? And you can allocate your funds just like you allocate your 401k. Where I wanted to
that's so divergent from where we are. No, I can't imagine it. But is AI something that could say, hey, there's a panoply of options here, and you can vote on these 72 things, and as long as they're within these ranges, there's still going to be an extraordinary outcome, and we want you guys to feel like you have input. Yeah, I actually could see that. Mm-hmm. But it will always be minus AI and that framing where it's like, we know these things can't go somewhere bad. Minus that, voting for everything like that on an individual basis, people will just vote emotionally. And so you will derange things even faster than we do now. Mm-hmm. So you're never going to get that. That will never be successful, and therefore certainly won't last long without the sort of oversight of AI.
And AI just being the organizing principle that kind of organizes it and presents it in a way that we can digest it.
If AI can recognize the interaction of so many different patterns, so many different elements of the economy that they realize, okay, cool, these 72 things within these tolerances, it won't really matter. But we know, as the AI, that humans are very motivated by autonomy, and they want to believe that they're able to have their input and get things the way that they want it, we know we need to give them the illusion of choice. But we've actually narrowed all the choices dramatically. This is why I don't think a three-party system is a good idea. Even though it seems like a good idea, what you end up happening is you fragment things too far. You end up getting European-style madness where, and this is basically what we're going to see play out in New York, where you're going to get a guy who almost certainly, for mayor, almost certainly will not get a majority of the vote, but will get into power. And so when at least you force people into a binary, even though it has horrible trade-offs, you're forcing them into a binary. So at least you're getting closer to a majority rather than people having to negotiate these very uneasy pieces. And so now you have somebody leading that may only have like 27, 32%. And so it's like, you've got a way bigger majority of people that disagree than agree. You get the tyranny of the minority. So anyway, all of this stuff is a trade-off. But if AI could limit the choice set because they recognize all of the variables, they know how they'll all bounce, but then they give us the essential illusion of choice, I could see it playing out that way. That's just really thought experiment. It's not where I think we're headed.
Yeah. You don't think we're in that 32% situation now? Because there's like Republicans against Trump, Republicans for Trump, Democrats who love Mamdani, Democrats who hate Mamdani.
You're still forcing them to vote for the options that they have. So at least, so this is like why I voted for Trump, right? I wanted RFK, but I voted for Trump because I knew RFK was going to lose. And so it's like, okay, well now in the sort of forced binary that I'm in, okay, at least you're letting me pick something where of those two choices, this is the person that I would want to have. So I didn't want to cast a protest vote and vote for somebody that I knew was going to lose just to be like, fuck you. But no, we don't have a majority, that is for sure. But we at least, and even it's of the people that voted, we don't even have a majority. But still, I think it creates momentum because a winner is picked.
Interesting. I'm split now because I seen Elon wanted to start the party. He got that crazy compensation package, so now he's kind of backing off. Like, okay,
I think that's why he backed off. I think he backed off because he realized that you end up just splitting the vote. That's the unfortunate reality. You split the vote, and then the person that is even farther from where the majority is ends up winning because the majority ends up splitting their vote across other people. So what's going to happen in New York? Probably.
Mamdani's really going to look like he's winning that campaign. Like, I don't think that's going away at all.
I mean, where's Polymarket have him? 80, 90% or something? It's crazy.
Sheesh. I didn't realize he got that.
Okay, I could be making that up. Okay. Fact check.
I got to find that out right now. And then he released that video about telling people not to bet, not to give him no more money, no more. We just need your time. Like it seems like every post he does goes viral. Like his content team is killing it.
Yeah. They know the social game well. And this is how old people end up. We are all a product of our time. It's so brutal. But nonetheless, we are.
Yeah.
All right. Jeez, any quick answer?
I really can't find it.
All right, chat. If any of you guys know, let us know. Drew really wants that socialism. Why do people read you like that?
They love.
Bro, I don't read you
I'm
like
a
that.
socialist, racist, and all these things, and I'm like, I'm in a room full of white people, and but somehow I'm like, I'm their projection. So project on me, chat. It's cool. Give me I'll carry all your burdens.
It's wild.
I'll do it. I'll take the hit.
It's wild. Chat. I don't think, at least people making that comment, I don't think you see Drew clearly. I would just say that.
And I feel like you're the most capitalist person too.
And poor Drew has gotten drugged into this. Drew is just trying to be a producer. And I was like, hey, look, I think the format of the show will be a lot better if you come on camera with me. And then more and more, I've like pulled you into like the commentary. So now poor Drew has got all of his stuff aired out there. So
and that's why I like laughing. Hence why you see it. Okay. We're gonna go back to the
right 53 years of struggle. Okie dokie, you know what's up.
Mamdani's at 81%.
81% of Polymart. Thank you, sir.
That is wild.
I really want to go back to chat questions after this last topic.
No,
I feel like this is important. I really want to make sure we get it. Oh, you saw this?
No, I never saw it. I saw that it was in the thing, but I didn't see what actually happened.
This is Bad Bunny in Puerto Rico.
Come on.
I hope people haven't seen it. He was just dancing.
Oh God, is he old?
He's like 29, 30.
Oh, yeah, you felt that buckle over there.
And he walked right off stage after that.
Oh man, come on.
I'm not laughing at it because of like I hope he's okay. Like thoughts and prayers.
Oh, that's so embarrassing. I feel his pain. Oh god.
It seems like the most old man way to get hurt.
Yeah,
like, it's one of those things. So I brought this up to say, do you find yourself getting?
Yes, there are times you can just sleep. What, bro? I'm like, my neck is totally jacked. What'd you do? Slept? That's wild. I've hurt my shoulder in the middle of the night. I've hurt my neck in the middle of the night. It is ridiculous. But here's the bad news. It comes for everybody. So when young people laugh, I'm like, bitches, it will come for you. Rest assured, I will get mine back. You will either die young or you're going to get old. Like, those are your two options. So the only thing we can hope is that AI solves all these problems. Man, I would take that. If AI will solve the problems, I will forgive all the young people who never have to go through it. Facts. But like, oh man, it is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Dude, so I love playing video games. I don't think that will surprise anybody. I can't have too many pork rinds or my hand will hurt from playing video games. If people understood how clean my diet is, if I eat too many pork rinds, that's wild. Like, come on, bro. That's a little ridiculous. Like at some point.
I was surprised how clean your diet was. I think when we traveled, when we went to Vid Summit that first time, and I was like, all right, he's away from home. He's going to loosen up a little bit. And it was the bunless burger with guacamole on the side. Yes. And I was just like.
Now, if you saw me on the cruise, though, you'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was it ice cream? What was it?
I had ice cream once.
Okay.
So admittedly, compared to everybody else, I'm very, very tame.
Yeah.
Because I steer by pain. So I don't want the inflammation in my joints and all that. But I did have ice cream once. It was delicious. I had pizza probably like 4 times.
Nice.
That was delicious. I had half of a chicken nugget. That was not delicious, or I would have had the whole thing. I had 1 hash brown, but like McDonald's style. That was nice enough to finish the whole one, but I didn't have more than that. What was the thing? I had a lot of fruit. I had a lot of fruit for me.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Half a chicken nugget is wild.
Yeah.
Okay, going back to the old man thing, I make noises when I get out the car. That's how I realize I'm getting old.
Oh, bro, that's gonna accelerate. That's gonna accelerate.
That's what I knew.
Yeah. This is gonna be amazing. Yep. Oh, it comes for all of us. It comes for all of us.
Oh man. Okay, chat. Update on the topic of the day.
Totally 1, 2, 3. I didn't have any sushi. Partly because Italy doesn't get down like that. Greece doesn't get down like that. And that was, we were in the Mediterranean. So yeah, no sushi. Had I been with just Lisa though, we probably would have been, because my father-in-law, whose 80th birthday it was, really doesn't do sushi. So
really,
I think there was like a sushi restaurant on the boat, but he was never going to go for that. Ever.
What line, like cruise line was it?
Celebrity.
Okay.
Shout out, by the way, if anybody's in the feed, that's one of the people that came up to me on the boat. I love you guys all. Thank you so much. People were so kind to both Lisa and I. In fact, I don't know if Lisa's still here. I think she is, actually. Lisa got recognized so much. It was wild.
Let's go.
Wild.
Let's go on tour, Lisa.
Yeah.
Let's go on tour.
Dude, facts.
Tour.
If Lisa started doing a live show, she would absolutely murder my numbers. Murder. I'm telling you. Anyway, so yeah, that was crazy. I don't do yoga. Yoga's evil. That's why.
Okay.
Quote me on that.
So we do have a couple more topics to get to. I think we hit our biggest bangers. Just grounding us again for the topic of the day. The suspected killer of Charlie Kirk has been captured. It is 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. People are saying that his dad and a friend of his turned him in.
And this is suspected.
Suspected.
He's not been convicted. Let's be very clear about that.
We started the show today going through the reactions, answering questions and things like that. I know this is still like a tumultuous moment. I've been seeing chat. We've been trying to go in other directions. Chat's been bringing us back up with updates. So this is one of those times, I think the last couple of minutes, we're just going to open it up to the community. Is there things specifically you guys want to talk about? How do we get back there? Rotar says, does his dad get the 100K reward? Would you collect a reward for turning in your kid?
100%. Not in a million years. Unless I was going to donate it to charity or something.
Yeah.
That would be gross in all capital letters.
Yeah,
never, ever. And I'm talking in my brokest of days. No fucking way. Like, that is rough. That's rough to the point where I'm not going to lie. If it was my kid, I might be slow to dial that phone. I'm not saying I wouldn't. But I'm saying I really hope I never am faced with that. Like, let's say I found out it was Lisa. Be like, I don't like being in this position. That would be hard. So yeah, I could forgive a dad that didn't rat a son out.
Sheesh. Stephanie Lynn Birnbaum said, do you think Elon is going to run for presidency?
No, definitely not. When you understand what it takes to do the things that he's done, you realize his mind has been hyper optimized for engineering. It is not hyper optimized for politics. He is not a politician. You saw how he alienated Trump. He is, from what I hear, I don't know him, I've never met him, but from what I hear, he is constitutionally incapable of building bridges like that. That his thing is like, listen, I've been right so much. Literally, it is possible. You could make the argument that Elon Musk has been more right than any human in history ever. So the fact, even if you just say he knows what people to hire, what to let them do, where to allocate capital, I'm not saying he's solved all the problems. He wouldn't say he solved all the problems, but it is unparalleled as far as I can tell. It's unparalleled in human history, the things that he's created. Unparalleled. It's unreal, man. And for him to hyper optimize his brain for that and then to go into government there's just no way. And I remember when he and Trump came together, I was like, like that's the odds of that lasting are very low, because you get to a point where you know, if we do it this way, the odds that I'm correct are exceedingly high, but they're playing different games. So Trump is saying, I'm so good at the political side of this that I know that I can keep getting elected, that I can move us forward. And so I know that I'm right. He's like, but from an engineering perspective, I know I'm right. And so they're just going to collide. And to be honest, to a certain degree, neither of them are wrong. What Trump has done politically is unbelievable. Look, it's possible that it's happened other times in American history where people have really tried to get them arrested and all that. And I'm just not aware of it. But certainly in modern times, the way that like they really tried to get this guy convicted and put in jail, and he was still able to keep a base of people behind him enough to like get to the other side of that and get reelected. Unbelievable. So he's going to have an unimaginable amount of confidence in himself. Elon on the other side, just being effective and knowing what needs to be done, he's going to have an unimaginable amount of confidence in himself. But yeah, the way that he has optimized his brain is anathema to politics.
Steve Morrow, Tom, for the people that have not started creating goals, what do you ask someone who hasn't started making goals? How does one start creating goals? Okay, so goals are very simple. There is something that you're excited enough about that you're willing to pursue it. And so what is that thing? A goal is simply, this is where I want to get to. Okay, rad. If you know where you want to get to, then you need to figure out why you're going to be willing to suffer to get there. Once you have the what and the why, now you're in business. Now it's just what is mechanistically the thing you need to do in order to get there. And then that's it. And you just run that process. And then inevitably it's not going to work. And there's something I call the physics of progress. And you've got to dial into that. But yeah, that is. And speaking of, by the way, today, 2 p.m. Pacific time, I'm going to be running through a lot of these things in Zero to Founder. I'm doing a live masterclass today at 2 p.m. So if you want to see me work through problems like this, I'm going to be teaching people how to build AI employees to launch your company. And I'm using all the things that I talk about when I talk about stuff like this. It's free, 2 p.m. today, Zero to Founder, live masterclass, 2 p.m. Pacific time. So you can see how I think through these things, but it's all mechanistic. So where am I trying to get to? Why am I willing to suffer? And then what are the steps that I need to take to get there? If I could get people to lock into that, oh, buddy. And by the way, for anybody on the fence about coming today, we are going to be giving you guys something free. If you show up live, it is very cool what we're giving people. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You got to come. Cool what we're giving people live. We're in a death loop. Join me live today. You will only get it if you're there live. You will only get the cool free thing if you're there live. So be there live. And there's a link in chat. Get it. Yep, just pinned it in chat. Awesome. Right now, it seems like things are heating up again. We have Ray Dalio who warned us. You've been saying it. I remember we had it after the Waymo attacks. You were like, yeah, I thought it was going to go this way, but this is the first drop in the bucket. It's another drop in the bucket. And now starting to connect those threads. It really does seem like violence seems not the solution, but that's what people are gravitating toward.
Violence is what people believe to be the solution. And here's the really bad news. By killing Charlie Kirk, he's dead. He's no longer going to talk. So what people realize is, ooh, violence is actually kind of expedient. And so this is why one of the things I found interesting in what Kaizen said was he was like, remember, we live in a world that is dominated by violence. That's real. And so the thing that we should all be screaming to do is to avoid getting to that point. But the reason that throughout history, violence has been an ever-present thing is that it works. But the problem is violence begets violence. So in thinking in terms of cause and effect, you get into a tit for tat very quickly. Mm-hmm. And this is why I'm really hoping that people can avoid getting into the narrative of team thinking, that it's the left versus the right, because then the right is just going to kill somebody, and then the left is going to kill somebody, and the right's going to kill somebody. And it's just going to go back and forth until it hopefully never escapes pockets of violence. But it certainly could. So the realities of the economy predicted that we would witness pockets of violence. Mm-hmm. I don't want credit for predicting it. If I'm going to get credit for anything, it's for trusting what history tells us. We're already in pockets of violence. And so now the question is, will we stay pockets of violence or does this escalate? That is yet to be seen, but we'll see. I think that if the shooter really does turn out to be a registered Republican, it will disrupt the narrative and it will make it harder for that to gain steam. Yeah. And so it will diffuse the energy. So again, stop looking at the spark and look at the kindling. Look at the kindling. Because even if this ends up not being a spark that like burns, the kindling is all there. And so there is going to be a spark that does have all the symbolic resonance. Like if that had ended up being somebody that wrote a manifesto, being on the left, and that the right has to die and all that, oh my God, then it's going to just go completely wild. So eject out of that. Don't do tribal thinking. Be hyper cognizant of all the kindling that's all over the place. Keep focused on the economy. Keep focused on how we are stealing from the poor and middle class. But please keep focused on the fact that socialism, communism, they are murderous. They have always been murderous. They will always be murderous. They are the things that people go to when they are trapped in their emotions. And if we stay there, it's going to be all bad, like really bad, all capital letters, bad, bad, bad.
Lisa had a good point in the chat. She says that brings up an interesting question. At what point would you turn on your partner, like your romantic partner?
This is my wife asking this? Yeah. Oh, God. So
trying to see how many bodies she could stack up.
At what point would I turn on Lisa? Oh, my God. I really don't know. That's hard.
You ride or die, Tom. That's what's up. That's the right answer. That is the right answer.
Yeah, that's tough.
All right. Bazzy Mayan said, why would it disrupt the narrative? The guy who shot at Trump was also a registered Republican.
And that diffused. So we'll notice that didn't become the thing that caused people to become violent. It could have been. The real question is, how much does this continue to escalate? Because will that stop future violence? Mm-hmm. I don't know that it will, but we're seeing a really terrifying escalation in the amount of political violence and the sense that the political violence is probably justified. I forget the exact stat, but it's like that violence may be justified given somebody's beliefs. Like that poll had a distressingly high number. Forget exactly what it was. It's in one of my recent deep dives. But I was like, whoa. Like once people think, yeah, like that's not so bad. And then again, seeing the clips that we showed, it should not be that easy to find, however many, 7 or 8 different people on one campus that were like, well, somebody had to do it. Yeah, I don't care that he died. Like all of that stuff is why. In fact, play the clip of the woman having a conversation with her dad. Like this is really distressing.
Oh, where'd you go? I had it. It's coming. Set it up for us while we pull it up.
Is it the woman thinks yes. Charlie Kirk?
Yep, got it.
Here we go.
He said that if his
You're not going to be able to hear her dad, boys and girls. So when her dad is speaking, we'll translate it and start it over if you would.
If you said he deserves to be shot because he said that if his daughter got raped, she would have to go through with the pregnancy. So I don't care that he got shot.
Dad says, so if it was something someone didn't like,
If you said something deplorable like that, then yeah, someone would probably shoot you.
If I said to someone, I could say something that someone could think is horrible, and you think that
if he openly is okay with his daughter going through with the pregnancy, if she was, then I don't care that he got shot. Exactly, it doesn't affect me, so I don't care.
No, how does his daughter have a baby?
So basically, the dad is just, how does his daughter, how does...
Because that's a disgusting thing for him to say. So if he were to say something like that, it's literally like, it makes perfect sense that he got...
Here's what I want to make clear, is she's saying because of a thing that he says, I don't care that he got killed. This is the problem. Because of something that he said, like freedom of speech is incredibly important, because what freedom of speech is the ability to think out loud, to put your ideas out into the world, to be able to have people say, that doesn't make any sense, I disagree, and you actually sharpen your thinking and you figure out what the right path forward is. Once you no longer want people to have the ability to speak, and you are so threatened by their ability to speak that you're willing to kill them, or you don't mind that somebody killed them, this is where it gets hyper violent. And I'm just shocked at how readily we're willing to accept a hyper amount of violence. I don't know if she saw the footage, and this is why the guy that cheers, Charlie was 20 yards in front of him, got shot and killed, and he's fucking cheering in real time. That is so wild. I don't understand. This all boomerangs back on you. It's crazy.
Keep it going. It gets worse.
He's a terrible, disgusting human being. You can't just go around saying terrible, disgusting things and...
And what?
No.
Not expect to be
No,
killed?
not...
Yes, you can.
Because you can, go to jail for some things you can say. So I guess there's not freedom of speech in some terms.
Yes, there are limits, yes.
That you're gonna, fight someone or hurt someone or make a threat.
Violence.
That's not freedom of speech.
There are limitations. It's still freedom of speech. So this is going to be one of those, the dad isn't exactly super eloquent, but this is going to be one of those where she's like, sure, you have freedom of speech, but not freedom of consequences. It's God damn, we're talking about somebody getting assassinated. Mm-hmm. This is where, for me, this breaks along the lines of, do you believe that somebody ought to be killed for something that they said? Ought to be killed for something that they said. And there's way too many people that seem completely fine with it, as long as that person is somebody that they think is despicable. Not realizing that this woman has what I assume to be trans-leaning ideology, and there are people who think that's just despicable. And those people, kill him for that. There are going to be plenty of people that, unhinged, but that think that way. And so this ends up boomeranging back on you. Make the rules for your enemy. Make the rules for your enemy. What weapon would you want them to be able to use against you? Lisa and I talk a lot about this with things in the company. Everything needs to be done at the level of policy. So when somebody's asking for something and maybe you want to give it to them because, oh my God, you just really feel for their circumstance. It's yeah, but now would you do it for everybody in the company? No. Okay. Then you've got to make a policy to which it's anybody in the company, regardless of circumstance, I'd be willing to let them do this thing. Otherwise, man, this really comes back to you.
I got a banger question.
Let's go.
Nashcast, does Tom think it'd be okay to kill Hitler?
So this is where we have to be very careful about the hypotheticals.
Let's do the time machine example.
If you have a time machine.
The time machine thing yesterday was great. That's all I was saying.
So what was the time machine thing yesterday?
I think yesterday you talked about people talk about if you could go back in time and kill Hitler, then that becomes a cultural narrative thing where we've talked about this over and over. And then you think that you have this opportunity to do that because you see the future so clearly, but no one does. That was...
Yeah, very well said, Mason. So here's the reality that when you do it as a thought exercise, you have certainty. You know what Hitler did. And so going back to kill him and saying, okay, basically have a moral obligation. Now, the really bad news is then you start getting into could there be knock-on effects from that we can't anticipate that are even worse. But let's just say, make the thought experiment as hard as you can. If I could go back in time and kill Hitler, and I know that the only negative or the only consequence would be that all of those people end up surviving, then yes, you have a moral obligation to do that. And I myself personally would be willing to do it. And if they said you have to do it with your bare hands, you've got to choke that motherfucker till he dies, would you do it? Yes, I would feel a moral obligation. If I knew that the only consequence would be those people would live. It's obviously fake because that would never be the consequence. And so, but I'm just trying to get people to understand what I believe the morality to be. The problem is in real life, there's no way to know that person really is going to break bad. This is the whole idea of Minority Report. Can you convict somebody of a crime before they commit it, or do you have to let them do it? So I would say if you have somebody that's planning to shoot a school or whatever, and you can see they're making plans, they're buying the guns, they've detailed it all out, they've got maps and all that, you cannot arrest them for murder. You can arrest them maybe for conspiracy to commit murder, but you can't arrest them for murder. So then it becomes what fits the crime. So if I've got somebody that I think that I could convict them in a court of law based on all the definitions of conspiracy or something like that, but then the penalty needs to match the crime, that they should be arrested and convicted for conspiracy and given a penalty for conspiracy, not for as if they had already done that. So this is somebody, if you even believe Charlie Kirk is going to do things that cause people to kill somebody, or maybe he's done things already that have caused like damage to a community or whatever, and so I've got to kill this guy. No, like that's not how the justice system works. And so for that reason, it's like all of this extrajudicial stuff, that's the thing that doesn't make any sense. So I don't believe that people can see the future. I think that people need to recognize they can't see the future. I think people need to understand when you trust yourself too much, you put yourself in a dangerous situation, that can have all kinds of moronic consequences throughout your life in every area of your life. People become way too convinced that they see things clearly. People need to always leave room for the fact they may not be seeing things accurately. People need to understand we are all trapped inside of a frame of reference, and that it doesn't even matter what you look at. What are you seeing? So, yeah.
For those that missed the stream, we are going to have the VOD up on YouTube. We leave all our lives up now, guys. You can always find them at YouTube. I've seen people on Twitch and Twitter asking about it, playing catch up.
Let's go. Twitch and Twitter. X, thank you for being with us, by the way. You guys, I fear, don't get as much recognition as you deserve, but we love you guys all. All right.
Can you eulogize us a little bit? I don't think we need like a specific sign off. If you just give us something that makes us a little bit more inspirational. I'm not trying to tell you to motivate us, but I feel like we need a little bit more than just a see you later, bye. You know what I mean?
Fair. Okay, so I will say this. Humans are a complex and incredible creature. We are capable of the horrors that we're seeing right now, but we are also capable of beauty and compassion and love. But we have to choose to look at that. We have to choose to put ourselves in that position. I am very grateful to the universe, to God, to whatever, that we have the ability to manipulate our own neurochemistry. So we can all choose right now to ratchet up, to spiral out of control with the ready emotions and the easy narratives that are all there to get us wound up, to be on one team or the other, to play a team sport, to want to win, to take that electrode and jam it in our brain to feel the anger that will give us the clarity and certainty to move forward. That's one way, and a lot of people are going to choose that. Or we can say that we're going to take that same metaphorical electrode and we're going to jam it into something that is far different. We're going to force ourselves to see the humanity in the other people. We're going to force ourselves to want people to challenge our ideas. We're going to force ourselves to find what we share, to see the things that draw us back towards the middle, to understand that the cause and effect of that leads to far more beautiful things than fighting with each other ever will. And that it feels good to be that kind of person. It feels good to be the kind of person that doesn't allow themselves to be enslaved by their own emotions, to be blinded by the things that they feel, that instead that you're going to rise up above that, that you really are going to see the humanity even in your enemies and try to find a beautiful path forward together. So it's
Love
not
that.
going to be super popular right now, but boy, does it feel a lot better, and it leads to a lot better outcomes. All right, everybody, thank you guys so much for being with us.
One more thing. Sorry. Kaizen, shout out to Straw Hat. There's a Kaizen gaming night tonight. So if you want to game with some of the people who like Kaizen in the Discord, link is in there.
Let's go.
ITU class on Tuesday at 2. ITU class at 2. Link in the bio, pinned comment. Kaizen game stream, 7 p.m. on Twitch. Straw Hat, if you need me to send a link or something, let me know. Sorry. Go ahead. My bad.
No, I love it. And I hope a lot of you guys will join me today at 2 p.m. live masterclass. We've got something free for you, but only if you're there live. All right, everybody. Till next time, be legendary. Take care. Peace.